Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. And welcome to HPANWO TV. And welcome to this Reply to Comments 86, the 86th video in which I get to reply to your comments, hence the title. The reason I make these videos is because I get a lot of comments on my channel. I don't have time to reply to them all by text. I feel obliged to reply when people go to a lot of trouble to put pen to paper or to photons onto celluloid or pixels onto a screen to tell me what they think. Therefore, I feel obliged to reply. Now, I know my reply to comments videos are very long, and you might think, well, I only want to reply to one comment. What's the point of doing a video to reply to just one comment? I'm not going to watch a 9-hour damn video just so I can have a reply to one comment. Well, guess what? You don't have to, for two reasons. Firstly, I'll put a timestamp under the comment I'm replying to. It'll say, thanks for the comment, it'll be answered approximately, and it'll tell you when within the video, on the upcoming reply to comments video, I'll be answering your comment within to the nearest hour. Also, another reason you don't have to watch a 9-hour video, because my reply to comments videos are not that long anymore. I do them more often now. I try to do them every 2 to 3 weeks rather than every 2 months like I used to, which means that they are shorter. Although I've got a feeling this one's going to be longer than most, it won't be 9 hours. I'm very surprised if it goes that long. And I enjoy doing these videos. That's another reason. And a lot of you guys enjoyed them too. You watched them all the way through. So obviously I'm doing something right when I do these reply to comments videos. So anyway, this video is going to be a bit longer than the average one, like I said. Even though I'm trying to do them more often, and that's because of my long absence. I was away for 8 days at Stairway to the Stars, which I came back from just about 5 days ago. Now, that inevitably means that there's probably going to be more comments. But there's nothing I could do. I was away. I was busy going away and doing a reportage, which I've uploaded, the reportage Meadows, which is now up on my channel. So this could go on for quite a long time. But I'm patient. I'm very patient. So we begin on Theory of Permanent Disclosure. This is my the East Anglia UFO group presentation I did recently. As I said, I actually did a video, the last reply to comments video, it's 21st of October. It's nearly a month ago. Anyway, we'll just start at the beginning, work our way through. I might even take several days over it, there's no rush. Diego Rivera, Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2, the second 164 says, fannies are not friendly, stay away from them. Right, now F-A-N-I, right. I think maybe the Spanish need to learn a little bit more about it before they choose the fanny. F-A-N-I stands for something in Spanish, which is the equivalent of UAP. As I said, the term UAP only exists, as Nick Pope explained actually in his talk last weekend. The term only exists because UFO is loaded down with so much psychocultural baggage. Ironically, UFO was created by the Robertson panel in 1952 for the same reason, because they didn't want to say flying saucer. But we loonies culturally appropriated UFOs, so they've now replaced it with UAP. Now, Spanish has done the same. The classic term for UFO is OVNI, O-V-N-I, which is an acronym for something. But of course, for the same reason, OVNI in Spanish, for Hispanophones, has the same feel about it, culturally and psychologically, as UFO does for English speakers. Which means, it has to be replaced with something else, and they've chosen F-A-N-I as a new acronym, and I don't know what it stands for. So, fannies not friendly, stay away from them. Well, it depends which fanny you're talking about, because some are alright, you know. Oh, I wish Kenneth Williams and Hattie Jakes were still alive. Oh, matron, yeah. But UFOs, if leaving the obvious quips aside and double entendres, UFOs vary a lot in terms of whether they're friendly or not. Yeah. Right. Reply to comments 85. Hugo Rune says here. Wow, I'm first. 37 seconds. Incredible. We'll enjoy. Hugo, you must have been poised by your computer, just waiting for the emails. Hugo says, block me if you want, lol. Oh, Hugo, I would never block you. Why would I do that? Right, we've got a thread now. Reply to comments 85. And it's Hugo Rune saying, I really do question the existence of any god from any religion. I've lived, worked and visited 34 countries. The only religion I have any respect for is Buddhism, which is not god-based, but I'm not religious. Yeah, Buddhism, the idea of a personal god is actually quite alien to the Oriental world. I mean, Buddhism, it's Hinduism is... Hinduism actually does have many gods. In fact, it has hundreds of thousands of gods. As the old joke, the old joke about the Charvakas. Well, the Charvakas, everyone is skeptical about all the old gods, but the Charvakas go 1,000 gods further. Yeah, but Buddhism, which originates in India, but really caught on in China. In China, there is an absence of the kind of god. This doesn't mean they're not spiritual, but their spiritual actuality is based more on kind of philosophical concepts rather than the belief in some kind of divine individual. And Frog Scotch 420, that's a good name, says underneath, I've come to think that maybe it's us humans that are gods, merely because this is just such a taboo in every religion. After all, we've always been told that we create our own reality. I think maybe that's true. I think, as I said, I actually, believe it or not, agree with Hugo Rune to a point. I mean, I'm not against the idea that there are personifications of angelic and divine personifications, but really, you see, it's the God within that I'm interested in. And as for creating our own reality, I think certainly our frame of mind has an influence on the reality we experience. I don't go along with this idea, well, you create everything that happens to you, because then if something really shitty happens, you feel guilty, or you feel, so I think it's not quite as simple as just the cosmic ordering system sort of situation. I think, but there is an element to that, yeah. And David Splendid Isolation, I know, has his own opinion on this, says creation itself is the evidence of its creator. Who he is, and his nature is a separate question. And Neil says to David, Neil Peel, Paranormal Peep Show, who says it's creation, though? We tend to assume that everything around us is somehow created. It might have always been here, with no beginnings. And Hugo says, why do we need a creator? This is where I have the problem. Gary Robinson says to Neil, man, that's got my head in a spin. And if it's always been here, how was it designed? How is anything and nothing, etc.? I need a beer. Well, yeah, this is a bit strange, because what Neil and Gary bring up here, and Hugo, I mean, is the universe finite? Does it have a beginning in the form of the Big Bang? In which case, how did it begin? And I mean, that's counterintuitive, but also so does the steady state theory of Fred Hoyle's idea that the universe just always has been here and always will be. The steady state theory. I find that too rather counterintuitive. I mean, so neither models really make much sense to me, which is a bit strange. As Hugo, why do we need a creator? Well, that's a big subject, but certainly not. I'm not one of these people who believes that God, Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden, etc. I do take seriously the idea that there is such a thing as intelligent design, though, in both physics and biology. And indeed, this is a huge subject I don't have time to go into now, but I do recommend my video in where I did a review of Professor John Lennox and his talk. That was back in 2019, but it is on my channel. So I think there is some kind of creative force at work, in the universe, I think, yeah. Call it God, if you will. So I don't agree with Hugo. I think why do we need a creator? I mean, in the sense that the Darwinists are kind of like Dawkins, it's kind of like their goal is to explain how life could emerge without any intelligence at all, as Charles Darwin identified. Um, and of course, the physics is trying to do the same thing in their own way, or they're kind of more open-minded, I think. Hugo says to David, "I don't see any evidence of creation. What about the rest of the planets?" Excuse me. And well, what about the rest of the planets? Well, I suppose you could say that well, the rest of the planets were created too. What were they created for? If God created them, like He created the Garden of Eden and Noah and the Ark and all the animals and things like that, what were the rest of the planets for? These are planets which are in every way just as interesting as the Earth is. They have a lot of variety. Some of them are a lot older than the Earth. They're bigger, very complex. So what are they for? As Carl Sagan says, he looks up at the universe and says it's an awful waste of space if it's just us. So yeah, what are the rest of the planets for? I don't know. See, I mean, I think well, there's evidence to suggest that Mars once had complex life. I mean, it certainly had water. I mean, it's a big subject that, but yeah. Hugo says also to Gary, excuse me, let me sleep. Enjoy, Canastella here. Cheers. And Neil says to Gary, the spirit that used to manifest through medium Jane Roberts, called Seth, mentions something like this in one of his dictated books. He said time happened all at once. The creator, all it is, always has been, always will be. So there is not a universe as such to bring into being. It's just a part of his multi-dimensional self, if you like. I've never heard of this person, Jane Roberts, but yeah, maybe that's an idea. I mean, there certainly are some missing links in my own view of the universe too. I mean, I said the idea of a finite universe doesn't make any sense, but the idea of an infinite universe doesn't make any sense either. So, well, it can either be one or the other. Something cannot. There's no alternatives to infinite or finite. If it's not one, then it has to be the other. They are mutually exclusive. So, neither makes sense to me. Which puts me in a bit of a bind. Gary says to Hugo, cheers mate, I prefer Leffy or a nice bottle of Duchess de Bourgogne. Oh right, you're into the old wheat beers, Gary. And Gary says to Neil, the more you think about how that could have happened though, it blows your mind. Unless everything is a simulation and it came to be at the press of a button. Alright, this is the Matrix theory. I mean, I don't know if there's a connection to Matrix, but this simulation theory has come about since the arrival of the film The Matrix. It's not a new idea. In fact, it can be found in the ancient world, most famously Plato and his concept of the cave. And there are other people like Frank Tipler, who's a physicist who believes it's unlikely that if you consider everything that's all about, it's unlikely what we see is real. You go down into subatomic physics, into the quantum world, you find that a completely different set of laws governs everything. I mean, this is why you get experiments like Schrodinger's cat, because it's an attempt to illustrate that it's an intent to illustrate what the world would be like if the world we could see, that is the world of the macroverse, that is multi-atomic objects, which you can perceive directly, behaved the way the quantum world does, that of the subatomic. See, it's the film What the Bleep Do We Know is very good in that respect, because it has some illustrations, the bouncing balls, superposition and what's the other one? Spooky effects at a distance, entanglement, things like that. Yeah. David Icke has gone into a lot of this as well. The idea of the simulation. There's a book by Michael Talbot, The Holographic Universe, I very much recommend too. David says, David Splendid Isolation says, like buildings are evidence of the builder, paintings are evidence of the painter, and engines are evidence of the engineer. The creation is the evidence of the creator, and the latter is far more sophisticated than any of the prior examples. No one would ever think that buildings and paintings and engines made themselves. The creation itself testifies of its creator, which is why most people recognise this around the world, regardless of the religion, even by instinct. Do you know what, David? I know exactly what you mean, and I kind of agree with you. And I think a lot of what's gone in, what Dawkins talks about, and people like that, and he's got his equivalents in physics and other sciences, who are not quite as belligerent as he is, not quite as closed-minded, but even Charles Darwin himself said that his theory was incomplete. I mean, he had what he called his missing link, that is transitional fossils and things like that. Now, I know Dawkins and all the other sort of evolutionists will come up with answers for various things, but I've looked at both sides of this. I mean, maybe I should do this in more detail. Maybe have a look, go into the whole issue. I don't know if you've seen my review of Dr. John Lennox and his talk in Oxford. I did an entire review of it in 2019. But this idea, the bird's wing, it can be a wing, but it cannot be anything else. It's like, how does it become one? What evolutionary force makes it turn into a wing, but at the same time allows it to function as a foreleg and things like that? It's a big subject, but I do cover it in detail there. Maybe I should come back to this, because I kind of agree with you. Dark Corners UK says, Hugo, I was raised a Christian but never felt comfortable with the whole organised religion thing. I parted ways with the church around the time of the Catholic paedophile scandal and the war in Afghanistan. Alright. Good grief. We're jumping straight in the deep end here with the sophisticated and deep and meaningfuls, aren't we, in this particular video? Well, I mean, I don't know what the war in Afghanistan has to do with the Catholic Church, but there you go. But the paedophile scandal, certainly, yeah. Dark Corner says, there was a story in the news about that time where a group of the Taliban had attacked a small village whilst the men were off fighting and had brutally killed and hung up the bodies of all the women and children in the village as a message to those fighters. Oh, right, yeah. I simply couldn't reconcile that fact that an all-powerful God would just sit back and let such horrors happen to innocent people. And since then I've considered myself an atheist, albeit somewhat spiritual one. Not sure if that makes sense, but basically I don't believe in one all-powerful Judeo-Christian God, but I'm quite familiar with Eastern mysticism, or mysterism. I don't know if that is the same word. I love and respect the Buddhist way of life and try to implement it in my own life whenever possible. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. You could ask yourself then, why would God intervene to stop humans doing horrible things? Because, I mean, people do, humans do. I mean, at the hospital, I saw, incontrovertible evidence of what people are capable of doing to each other. Things you don't see in the news. And I did think to myself, I found it baffling, and I've said this, I've come back to the idea of psychopathy and malevolence, and I find it baffling myself why someone would do a thing like that. To me, it's I don't understand why someone would do something like that, because why someone would want to do those things, even though I'm the same species as the people who do. I don't know if that is actually a theological issue, because you could say, well, why would God be obliged to do something like that, or want to? I mean, this goes back to the Epicurean argument, Is God all-powerful and benevolent? I mean, it's like, how does it go? Oh, let me just look it up, hang on. If God is willing to prevent evil but is not able to, then he is not all-powerful. If he's able to prevent evil but not willing, then he is not benevolent. If he's both willing and able to prevent evil, then where does evil come from? If he is neither willing nor able, then why call him God? It's the Epicurean paradox. Oh, so but I mean, I do prefer actually the Oriental mysticism, I think, to Western Judeo-Christian religion. And all right, Neil says to Gary. This reply to Gary. What was Gary's point? All right. It's the simulation press of a button thing. All right, Neil says to Gary, it's because we experience time like a stylus on a record groove of a song or on an LP. We go through the track, i.e. time, but when you hold up an LP at the right angle to light, you can see the grooves and track all at once. So all linear tracks are being seen at the same time. For all that is, or God, or he or she, is not only the track, but the experiencer and the entity looking at the track. That's a very Janet and John explanation, but I think it helps to kind of lay it out there. The thing is, Neil, that would imply, if you're saying the right, if what you're saying is what I think it is, you believe, I think, in predeterminism, in fate. A record groove, of course, is the same. You look down on it and you see it from beginning to end, wrapping itself around the vinyl disc, which essentially means going from past to future, because you can't change what's on that record. It's been recorded already in advance. The time to change it was before the recording. That implies there's no free will and we have everything's predetermined. Is that right? I mean, I don't agree with that at all. And Neil says to character David here, except that in a dream you see a painting, but you never think in a dream that somehow you made it yourself, but it appears in the dream to have been created by someone else. That someone else is you. The universe is more of an idea rather than a creation. Well, that's true, yeah. Presumably the answer is it does come from you. The painting, it comes from your subconscious, which is where your dreams come from. Yeah. Gary says to Neil, no, I totally get that, mate. For the most part, our theories are based on our interpretation of this 3D reality, which is why people can't get their heads around this stuff, I guess. Yeah, I can't either, Gary, really. And Gary says to Neil, mate, that has really had my brain ticking over. Yeah, me too. David says to Neil, interesting, and I think the overall point is there's a mind behind the design, even when it's a dream. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yes, even when it's in your dream, it's still your own creation. David Smith. I knew he'd have something to say here. Except you have nothing to, it says here to David, splendid isolation, except you have nothing to contrast something designed to something non-designed. It's like standing on a beach and the beach is made of watches. We see zero evidence of this, and the fact a lot of people say it doesn't make it any more doesn't make it any more true. It's circular logic at its core, saying a creator needs to exist to explain creation. Is made of watches. What does something look that's non-designed then? What is non-designed? Yeah, that's a good point, David. I must admit, despite the fact I did agree with David, what's the difference? Where do you draw the line? I mean, is a rock designed? Is the sea designed? Is a whirlpool designed? A whirlpool has a shape, it has a size, it has everything else. It's not even one thing. It's a process within water that looks like it is a thing. It looks like it is an object when it's not an object at all. It's just a complex way in which water flows to make it appear to look like an object. David's splendid isolation says to David Smith, just because you say that doesn't make it true. As for atheism, in my opinion, it's foolish to believe that nothing created everything. Anyone who somehow believes that is really hiding to nothing. But it's desire based as usual, similar to the PS problem. What's the PS problem? I sense that David, I think, is making the same argument in the opposite direction. He's saying, well, and in a sense, I've made this argument. In the sense, this is what David is saying. If I understand him correctly, is very similar to my argument of the cutoff point of coincidence and pareidolia. I gave the example of the mural of the Sistine Chapel. Is it just random splashes of paint? Did Michelangelo just lose his temper and kick paint pots around and think, well, I like that? Because how do we know the difference? How do we know it's something he actually painted in an organised way, rather than just, like I say, threw paint everywhere and just happened to like the pattern? If we see hands of God and cherubs with bits of blue ribbon, that's just our imaginations. We're seeing organised patterns in random in random visual stimuli. I mean, so I think you're making the same argument as me there, David, if I understand. Splendid isolation. Smith, I'll call you by your surnames to distinguish you, comes back. No, because that's how logic and reason works. I'm sorry you can't accept rationality, but it doesn't change the facts. It's an argument from incredulity. Just because you don't know how things can be doesn't mean you get in to insert a creator. Alright, this is a very Dawkinsian thing to say. He says, well, we used to think life was created because it appeared that it had to be. Then Darwin came along and said, no, it can evolve through natural selection, survival of the fittest, mutation, things like that. If everything has a creator, then by logic, so should your creator. I mean, it doesn't need one. Why would you think it unlikely the universe also wouldn't need one? The argument defeats itself. This is the infinite regress. It's turtles all the way down. If God created the universe, who created God? I used to think that when I was a kid, Atheism doesn't mean you don't believe anything. It's a rejection of claims made by theists. It is an I don't believe you response to God exists. The God hypothesis. We should treat it like we do anything else. The God hypothesis. A hiding to nothing comes from people wasting time and energy on religion and unproven God claims. Oh dear, I miss Beatsart. Oh, Beatsart who died. He was cool. Oh, more replies. Oh, blimey, this thread goes on. Oh dear me. David says here, whenever this subject comes up, threads do tend to get quite long. David says to, Splendid says to Smith, sorry to inform you, but your position isn't and doesn't become the default one. The most you can say or believe is that you don't know, which is agnosticism. But then you've been given enough evidence around you, so if you still can't realise what's going on, then that's your own lookout, your own problem, and I'm genuinely sorry that you claim difficulty. Alright. I think this is the kind of well, if you don't have faith, I just hope faith comes to you. Is that what you're saying, David? And David Smith says in reply, sure, that's not the default, but that doesn't mean anything. You seem to hang on to this idea just because because something is popular, it must have truth. That is a fallacy. Now, I actually don't. So I'm going to interject here, David Smith. I don't think David's Splendid Isolation is saying that. He does have a kind of cognitive model for why he believes as he does. I don't think it's just, well, that's what everyone else thinks, must be true. And that is a fallacy, yes, the argument from populism. Yup, agnostic atheism, which is the position of the vast majority of those who are atheist. Yes, that's Richard Dawkins saying, yes, I am a 9 on the scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to atheists. I can't be 100% sure, but... funny enough, David Baddiel, who I listened to an interview on the British Humanist podcast, said he is a 10. He has no doubt in his mind that there is no God. There is a God. Richard Dawkins has a little crack opening the door, but for David Baddiel, the door is firmly shut. Funny thing about David Baddiel, his interview is rather strange because he said the reason I know God doesn't exist is because I want him to. Now that doesn't really make sense. That is another fallacy, I think. The argument saying, well, I mean, I know a lot of atheists and skeptico-materialo humanists will say that those who disagree with them are suffering from wishful thinking. Obviously, I disagree. Firstly, it's an aside, but I think the wishful thinking argument cuts both ways, which is the basis of MBA, if you watch my MBA videos. But on the other hand, just because something is a pleasant idea doesn't mean it can't be true because it's a pleasant idea. Yeah. The problem is you call it evidence of a creator. It's up to you to show that, because every time people make that claim and we investigate, insofar as we can, what we actually see are demonstrable processes, not a creator. Oh, excuse me. Well, as I said in my video about John Lennox, I think that's not the case. There is evidence that is presented which is rejected. I mean, there's a film called what's it called? Its subtitle is No Intelligence Allowed. What's the film called? Because I remember seeing it. Expelled. Yes. I want one sec. Ben Stein. Here we are. See, Ben Stein expelled. No intelligence allowed. Now I don't know if it was. It's down. It's down as a documentary stroke propaganda. Now this is worth seeing. If you've not seen this, it's worth seeing. Let me just try and find you an image of it. I want to just close that. So I'm just finding a good image here. Well, you can just see these ones here. Here we go. Display. Here we go. Look, there's lots of expelled. No intelligence allowed. This film is worth seeing. Now, it unfortunately doesn't go into the science enough. It talks more about the. It talks more about the experience of the individual intelligent design supporters in a world which is dominated by Darwinism. He speaks to various biologists and people like that, and it doesn't go into the science enough. Now there is more. There are some documentaries out there that do go into the science of intelligent design, and they're worth seeing. And maybe I have never really addressed it in detail. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. But do watch that for a start. That, I think, gives you an idea about how, supposing this evidence that David Smith talks about actually occurs, because every time people make the claim we investigate, so far as we can, we actually see our demonstrable processes, not a creator. But the thing is, if it becomes the cultural norm within the paradigm to say that, then if someone who doesn't say it, someone doesn't go along with it, they may well be persecuted for their beliefs. In the same, I mean, there's many other examples we could talk about. John Mack in ufology. There's all kinds, you know. And David finishes, you've just been convinced to believe something without good evidence. Okay, that's the end of that debate. A very long thread that's taken about. It's actually taken over half an hour of this video, which is that's okay. That's okay. We're not in any rush, but that's certainly jumping in the deep end there. As I said, reply to comments 85, Hugo Roon. Thanks for that kangaroo stuff, made me smile. Aussie deers. It seems obvious now. Yeah, their heads are like a deer, aren't they? Yeah. And someone was saying they thought I saw something that looked like a. They saw someone that looked like what's it? They thought I'd seen a kangaroo when I'd actually seen a deer. Right, reply to comments 85, Gary Robinson. Who is getting blocked? Oh, right, I did, yeah, I had to block a couple of people. Jamnoy says, hey, Gary, you made Ben jealous. Happy now? Hope you're good, Gary. We'll catch up soon. Oh. And Gary says, yeah, I feel bad now. Let's catch up as soon as possible. Jamnoy, okay, then, keep December the 9th free. It's our next bongo night. Oh, the drumming, yeah, the drum. I know you guys are you're both musos, and that's great. You have that affinity. Gary, oh, cool. Jam noise. We'll catch up before that though. It'll be D&B nights, drum and bass there tonight. I wonder how that's going. I'm sitting outside getting a high AF in this Lanzarote. Green is serious. Oh yeah, Jam Noise has got some videos from Lanzarote that are very nice when she went on holiday there. Yeah. Gary, oh nice, I'm going to say, hope you're having a good one. Yeah, I hope to meet up with you guys soon. This is something we're arranging privately, but hopefully to meet you guys soon. Oh, we've got another long thread now. Show more replies. What's this? All right. Gary says, here, Dark Corners. This is on reply to comments 85. Dark Corners mentioned the new woke Bambi. Unfortunately, Disney are planning more woke remakes, including Cinderella, who will be a bloke, Robin Hood, and the Fox and the Hound. There's also talk that Matthew Vaughn is going to be remaking the original Star Wars trilogy for a modern audience. We all know what that means, of course. Yes, Gary. It means lots of films that are going to be around, no one will watch, and hopefully they'll. I don't know how much longer they can do this until they just go completely bust. Oh dear, I won't be watching any of those things, obviously. Dark Corner. Sorry. Mad Mesh says to Gary Robinson. Philip John Davenport, Black Ops 311113. Don't believe the hype. I don't know what that means. Gary, no entiendo. I don't know what that means. Is that Spanish? Mad Mesh says, oh yes, my porno will get picked up by a boyfriend I pimp out ask her. Bummed in the bushes, it's funny you get Mickey in the Irish lad. You're talking. You're not making any sense, Mad Mesh. Alright, Mad Mesh is just talking gibberish now. Dark Corner says to Gary, Cinderfella. And let me guess, he will be in a gay relationship with the prince, no doubt. Gary says to Dark Corners, she's apparently going to be a bloke who identifies as a woman. That's not a joke, by the way. Disney have also just hired a new head of diversity, equality and inclusion. Yeah. I call it diversity, inclusion and equality. Die, in other words. Oh, dearie me. I mean, please don't let these films be produced. Oh, good grief. No. Please. Dark Corner says to Gary, this whole inclusion thing in Hollywood right now is getting beyond the joke. I actually have no issue with consenting adults doing whatever they like in the comfort of their own homes, but why are they trying to push this sexualized content on our children? It's a super twisted, if you ask me. Yes, to be honest, really, I mean, all the... This is a point many people have made. The homosexual community basically got everything it wanted. Stonewall and all these other organisations really should be sitting down and saying mission accomplished, because everything they originally wanted when they started their campaign for gay rights, which the homosexuals had a legitimate gripe, and I've got nothing against what they did. They wanted to be accepted and allowed to do what they wanted to do, as you say, as consenting adults to do what they wanted to do. All they had to do was leave our children alone. That's all they had to do. And now suddenly, we're coming into... Now, you see, it's what we call gay rights now has gone beyond what it originally was. What it originally was please, just let us do whatever let us leave our private lives alone as adults, and let us have them. Let us have our private lives. So everyone says, okay, we'll do that. And I 100% support that. But then they said, no, they're now saying, well, that's not enough now. We want you to have all our private lives. We want our private lives to be public and in your face all the time, including in the faces of your children. We want them to know all about these very adult subjects that I personally wouldn't want children to know. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Okay, I'm not going to read Mad Mesh's stuff up, because Mad Mesh is just talking. Mad Mesh is talking in riddles now. All right. Dark Corner. Dark Corners and Mad Mesh are having a conversation. Dark Corner says, "I'm still lost." Yeah, I actually think Dark Corner. I don't think there's any point talking to Mad Mesh. Sorry, I don't think he is. Does not make any sense. Right, reply to comments 85. Gary Robinson says 21 grams is supposedly the weight of the soul. I only know that because of the movie of the same name. Right, is that a horror movie or something? It's a good idea for a horror movie of some kind. It really is. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it was probably caused more by water evaporation from the lungs and the lungs and respiratory tract, rather than the actual soul leaving the body. But that's what the actual experiment was done. This completely bizarre, quite funny, I suppose, and rather ghoulish experiment in many ways was done. And then Dark Corner says, I believe there was an episode of Breaking Bad that also explains this concept. Alright, Breaking Bad I rather enjoyed that. It was actually another blonde who got me into that. And I've actually got the DVD. I bought the DVD of it. That's actually pretty good. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah. About how there's about how this completely ordinary person got somehow sucked into the underworld almost inevitably. It's really good. Gary says to Dark Corners, that's one show I've not watched. I think I saw the first 2 episodes and for some reason didn't go back to it. I really liked Better Call Saul though. Right, I've not seen that one. Dark Corner says to Gary, in my humble opinion, it's better than Call Saul. It's better than Better Call Saul. Definitely worth checking out. Gary says, I'll definitely go back to it eventually. Right. Reply to comments 85. Gary says here, I had no idea about the secret episode of Faulty Towers. Must Google. Right. Let's Google it. Yeah, let's Google Faulty Tower. Here we go. Faulty Towers. Lost episode. Here we go. Faulty Towers lost episode. The 13th episode of Faulty Towers. Right. The 13th episode. The existence or otherwise of the 13th episode of Faulty Towers is a mystery which is right up there with whether man really strolled on the moon or whether Princess Diana was bumped off by dark forces. Yes, a few sources claim there was a 13th or missing episode. Some even go to claim they have viewed this lost episode. Yeah. So were there really just 12 episodes of Faulty Towers, or does the urban myth of the lost episode lie somewhere locked in a dusty vault in one of the many BBC buildings dotted across England? There was never a Faulty Towers movie, no Christmas specials, or anything. That's right, there were literally just 2 seasons, and then that's it, yeah. Are there American remakes? Oh dear, God, grief. You can't possibly remake it, no way. Let's begin with the quest for the Holy Grail, which is the 13th episode of Faulty Towers, by looking at some of the plots. The blackout, the robbers, alright. And this is on Faulty Towers, this is faultysite.net, this is a website devoted to it, right. Yeah, I mean, I heard that. There's some legends about it. Mad Meshes here again talking nothing. Alright, Gary says, I did some Googling and apparently this episode was called The Robbers. Yeah, I do think it is actually, it is an urban myth, which probably is not true, unfortunately. Which is a shame because I'd love it. I don't know why there wasn't more Faulty Towers. I don't know why there wasn't more. I mean, how many seasons of Friends was there? A very, very substandard comedy compared to Faulty Towers. So why was Faulty Towers stopped after 2 seasons? Well, I mean, this was in the 70s before there was political correctness, you know. Reply to comments 85, DJ Boo2. I knew it, all nurses are commies. Well, some of them are, unfortunately. DJ B2, JK, lol. Alright, I don't understand that. Some of these references may be things I've forgotten because it was actually almost a month ago I did the comments reply video, the last one, because of other things that have got in the way, like my trip to the Stairway to the Stars event. DJ B2, have seen deer in their natural habitat whilst camping away far from society, usually around 5 AM or just before daylight. That's when they come out, DJ. I mean, I tend to see them in the morning, actually. I've seen a lot of deer. There's a lot near Oxford, just in parts of the outskirts where I do some of my work, and I do see quite a lot of them. I saw one today. DJ says here on the same video, it does seem the masses on social media are mind-controlled to go with the current thing. Yeah, totally. And on the same video, DJ says here, I disagree with the Boris stuff. He is a eugenicist like his father. All right. I'm off the Boris train as well, DJ. As I've said many times, there was a time when Stanley Johnson wrote a book funnily enough, about viruses. I've got a copy of it somewhere. Miles had a copy, and I thought, well, I'll check it out. I can't see it now. I just bought a book, actually. I want to talk to you about later if I remember. But yeah, you do realise, GJ, that my previous feelings and sentiments about Boris Johnson no longer apply. I have completely disowned everything I said about him beforehand. Straw Person, that's a good name, said Sheep Farm Studios do a great biography of him and that fact. Oh yeah, Sheep Farm Studios are great. They're very, very good. They really are. DJ says, also Boris messed up the peace deal before the Russian-Ukraine thing started. Boris messed up so much. He really did. I think when did he start to go downhill? I think it was the the C word pandemic thing. He had an opportunity because he was our Trump with Brexit and everything like that, and then suddenly along comes Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, whispering sweet nothings in his ear, and before you know it, he's just another globalist clone. And I'm like, what a disappointment. He could have taken that opportunity to be a strong leader through that pandemic, but I think he lacked the maturity, he lacked the self-discipline, he lacked the he lacked the basic strength to go through with it. And I mean, the Partygate thing was beyond the pale. It really was. DJ says, I did not vote when Boris got elected. I did, DJ. I voted for him. In fact, there is a video on my channel called Polling Day, in which I explain that I voted for him and why, which I'm not going to remove just because I've changed my mind. In fact, all my old videos, I don't remove videos at all. I've never removed a video because I've changed my mind about it, trying to edit my past. People can go through my catalogue and they can see all my old mistakes. They're all there to be dissected. You can dissect them yourself if you want and come back and tell me how else I messed up. I'm not going to censor my own past. DJ says the last vote was a vote to leave the EU. Yeah, I mean, of course, I voted for that, and then I voted for Boris. I mean, that really. Then, since then, I'm afraid it's back to the bad old days of politics. It's all the old cliches have returned. Doesn't matter who you vote for, the government always wins. Things like that. Yeah, there's no point. There's going to be an election probably within the next 12 months. Just over, and there's going to be 0 point in voting for it because you've got Starmer or Rishi Sunak. That's basically your choice. So, glass of Coke or glass of Pepsi? Think carefully. Yeah. DJ says Boris has always been dodgy since the Bullingdon Club. No, I think he's been dodgy since about. No, I think he's actually. I mean, I don't like the Bullingdon Club. It's a horrible thing. They've got an awful reputation here in Oxford. But that was when he was young. I think he's been dodgy since probably just after Brexit happened in early 2020. I think that's when he took a wrong turn and then he just never got back onto the right track. Somewhere Caroline Stevens is giggling. I told you so, Ben. I told you so. Reply to comments 85. DJ B2. Ben, politicians cannot be trusted. I think about 95% of them can't, DJ. No, there are a few who can. I thought Boris was one of them, but he wasn't. And Straw Person says, crooks indeed. The whole system is rotten, but then we know our reality is a construct now. Now, I wouldn't go as far as that, Straw Person, because that implies kind of the thing that a lot of the backslappers say, which is everything is rigged, everything is controlled, everyone's a shill except me, and things like that. As I've said before, and I know there are many characters, very noisy characters who are like this and say these sorts of things. They're essentially saying that the New World Order is invincible and inevitable, and if anything happens that it appears to be turning around and reversing, or things are going our way, that's just a deeper level of the conspiracy, Ben. I can see it and you can't. This is why I'm superior to you. Yeah. So I wouldn't go as far as what Straw Person says here. DJ B2 says, Ben, I missed the live streams, lol. Oh, I did one, DJ. I'll give you a love heart for that. I did one actually since then, didn't I? Let's have a look. Oh yes, I did the Halloween Vigil. Yes, that's a live stream. So I did one since you wrote that comment. There's going to be another one soon as well. I'll tell you more about that at the end. Reply to comments 85. DJ says, I've been ill and slept the last couple of days and I'm now okay, hence lots of comments. Alright, well DJ, thank you very much for your comments. Much appreciate them, and I do hope you're feeling better now. I'm glad I provided you with something to pass the time while you were lying in your sick bed. Yeah. DJ B2 says here on reply to comments 85. Bugger, next door has burning undried out wood. Alright, you mean they're burning burning wood. Okay. Creating smoke and things like that. DJ B2 says on reply to comments 85, Klaus is planning his poly crisis for 2024. Oh, I'm sure a poly crisis, P-O-L-Y crisis. Yes, poly meaning many different things. Probably DJ. I'm sure Klaus and his merry men are trying to come up with some kind of very nasty, underhand way of creating the next current thing to advance the Agenda 2031. You will own nothing and be happy, eat the books and things like that, yeah. And Straw Person says to DJ, the funny thing is, he would last about 2 minutes in the hood. Even he doesn't, Straw Person, he has bodyguards surrounding him all the time, doesn't he? Even the blue pills would have a pop at him. The arrogance of the bloke is almost impressive. He does make me giggle when he wears his Lord Vader outfit, though. It's like Billy Boy or Yuval. All these mini tyrants were bullied at school and it's affected them badly. All the money in the world would not tempt me to change places with them. Tragic characters, tar and feathers. So just, I won't finish that sentence. But yeah, maybe they were. I mean, the thing is, like, when it comes to people becoming little mini tyrants, the mini tyrants as you call them, because they were bullied at school and they experienced humiliation. It could be. I mean, I was bullied when I was a kid, not at school really, but at home, and it's painful, and you have to integrate that kind of experience. It's painful to integrate and to get over, and you have to try and turn it into something positive if you can. Yeah. It's in that he says even the blue pills would have a pop at him. Straw Person, it's very interesting that we live in a world in which the political class has to be protected from us. As I said earlier, they're surrounded by bodyguards. Without those bodyguards, they'd be lynched very quickly. I mean, as it is, when Sunak or Starmer walks down the street, they have to be surrounded by policemen, and they're followed by a crowd heckling them really brutally, hurling abuse, shouting, trying. Sometimes they even throw objects at them like eggs and things like that. Downing Street has a big, now it's closed off from the public and has a big gate there. In the old days, you could walk up Downing Street and stand outside number 10 and talk to the policeman and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, it says a lot when the political classes are so unpopular and so loath that they can't even have any contact with us. Yeah. I mean, like in Zimbabwe, for example, Ian Smith, what it was called Rhodesia in those days, he used to sit in cafes and people used to come and sit at his table and talk to him. He was very popular. I mean, Ian Smith was well liked by the population, and people used to come and sit down to him. Black and white people, they used to come and sit and have long conversations with him, and they used to get on well. And he could wander around. He could wander around the town quite freely. If Sunak did that, he would be tarred and feathered in no time at all. Right, so DJB2. Shaver Mystery is cool. There are creepy little YT vids on it. Pete is a good lad. Shaver Mystery, I've heard of that. What is the Shaver Mystery? Try and do a little more Googling. There we go, right. Shaver Mystery. It's not that time when the battery fell out and I couldn't find out where it was and had to use a razor instead. Oh no, of course, I brought this up, yeah. Of course, this is something I mentioned, Richard Sharp Shaver, the guy who, he was a chap who wrote science fiction stories, which a lot of people think were real. Yeah. Yep. I remember now. So I was just reminding myself there was something that I brought up. And DJ says, the Darrow and Tarot stuff. Right. What's that? Again, I have to remind myself. This shows how long it's been since I last did a comments reply. Darrow, Tarot. Darrow, Tarot. Instagram photos and videos. Darrow, Tarot. The vendor of Darrow, Tarot. Something to do with computer games, I think. You've been playing a lot of games, DJ. I expect you're So you've not been well, I know. I resonated with Shaver due to I remember Lemuria. My cat's name is Lima, given to her before she was my companion. She chose to live with me. Oh, that's sweet. Lemur, as in Lemuria. Yeah, Lemuria was actually James Churchward who came up with this. It's like Atlantis, the Lemuria story. It's very interesting. Yeah. Excuse me. I haven't got the timer on, so I've got to check the time continuously. All right, another 5 minutes, and then we'll end. That's a whole hour basically. DJ said on 85, the Earth being irrelevant comes out of Foundation by Asimov. Right, I've only ever read one Foundation book. I read the prequel, and I thought it was quite good. It was very like Dune, which I really did like. Yeah. DJ says here, sorry, commenting while watching. That's all right, mate. Comment whenever you like. I mean, if you say something and you can always correct it later on. DJ Ben, if you debate mumbling, make sure it's a live stream. All right, now I'm not gonna. It won't be. If it happened, it won't be a live stream because what it will be. Things live streams are just too difficult to control, and I don't have time to deal with comments and things like that. What it'll be is it'll be a recording which will be freely available, unedited to both of us for our own channels. So there'll be no censorship. No, neither of us can accuse the other of censorship. And Straw Person says underneath, this is 100%. Yeah, the thing is, I'm not going to make it a live stream. The thing is, it's all academic anyway, because it's not going to happen because Mumbling's chickened out. He was all full of bravado, but then all I said, I only put one condition on it. I said, can we not talk about the moon landings? And literally the only reason I put that condition on it was because we talked about the moon landings ad nauseum now already. So I didn't see any point. But then he just sort of ummed and ahed, and he just evaded all my posts about it, and now he's not going to. He's not going to do it, which is a shame. 85, Dark Corners UK. Don't vote, it only encourages the bastard. Yes. All the old maxims I think we're going to have to get out and dust off. And, I mean, I don't, is it even worth making videos about the next election? Because it's going to be stupid. The one in the United States may be worth reporting on if Trump does get in there. But in the UK, we have nothing. We have the choice of. We basically have the mono party, the uniparty, and they're the only people who have any chance of forming a government. Labour are probably going to win, and the turnout is going to be a record-breaking low figure. We already know that from the various by-elections that we've had lately, which Labour are claiming victories, which are not. Labour claim they won these by-elections when no, they didn't. Their candidate got in because it's only Labour supporters now who are voting. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I think that's now. I've got 44 minutes on this one. I didn't set the timer up, and there's 15 minutes. I actually did take a little break after 15 minutes because I was yawning so much. I had a little nap. You might have noticed a bit of editing there, a little bit of a break in the narrative. So I will be back for hour number 2 very soon. Alright guys, on to hour number 2. Gary Robinson. Oh, we got a long comment here on Reply to Comments 85. Ben mate, incredibly excited to hear you're going to Las Vegas. Oh yeah, I mean, of course I have been, yes. I would like to offer you some advice in regards to being an Englishman in the USA and, of course, in Las Vegas. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Well, it's a bit late now. I've seen his comments, but let's see what you have to say. A lot of other people did offer me advice, actually, including Jam Noise and several other friends. I do a lot of transatlantic flights, and I've developed some hacks. Firstly, make sure you have one of those inflatable neck cushions for your flight, as they are the only way of getting some sleep. Thanks, mate, but because I was in Club World, I didn't need those. Secondly, buy a few packs of Tesco sandwiches the night before you travel and put them in your carry-on. They will seem like a gourmet banquet compared to the food that's served on board. Again, maybe I think I got better food than most passengers because I was in Club World, Gary. Yeah. Lastly, drink as much water as possible during the flight, so you're not hung over when you get there. All right. I did drink a few things, although I didn't want to have too much because otherwise I'd be queuing for the toilet the whole time. Assuming you're going with a group, make sure you stick with them at all times, as it's the best way to stay safe in Las Vegas. Right. It might be a tourist haven, but it's also full of people looking to shake you down. I first went there with friends in 2003, and we were given this advice by a taxi driver. Let's say it turned out to be true on so many different levels. You'll find that you end up doing an insane amount of walking, as it's so vast, which of course is not a bad thing. Of course, you do need a taxi. You can only hail them from casino hotel lobbies. That being said, there is a very reliable bus service in Las Vegas, which is much cheaper than using taxis, of course. Make sure you visit old Las Vegas in the downtown areas. This has some of the original casinos that look like the one featured in The Godfather Part 2. These are also the inspiration behind most English seaside towns with casinos such as Lucky Penny, etc. Also, if you have the budget and the time to go ahead and rent a car and visit either the Grand Canyon or Hollywood and Santa Monica, etc. Lastly, always carry a passport with you in your man bag at all times. Don't go outside without sunglasses, and don't pack a sleeping bag. All right. Well, as far as the way of staying safe, there were people who were trying to shake us down. The people who took the photograph of me, do you remember those people who took a photo of me? They demanded, like, I gave them $3, which I thought was a fair price, and they said, "Oh, can't you give us 20?" And I said, "No." I just said I haven't got that much, and walked off. And I did think they wouldn't send me the photo. They did in the end, actually. They did send it to me, but I didn't use it. It was just a photo. A photo's a photo. But there was that other person. There was that guy hanging around the entrance to the Stranger Things exhibition, trying to get things off people. "Oh, you can't take that in there. Jumper him I told you about." That's what started the argument between me and someone else. But yeah, I mean, you've got to watch what you're doing. I mean, I would say wear trousers with zip pockets to avoid pickpockets and things like that. Yeah. I did do a lot of walking. Yeah, it was. Although there's escalators everywhere, which I think is very helpful. Only used a taxi to get to the airport and back. Now, we didn't go to the downtown area, unfortunately. We didn't have time. We basically were going. I mean, something we could have done actually in the week beforehand, but I was really the week before the conference, or the 5 days before we went to the conference. Kind of Colin and Mark were like taking the lead, really, and I was following them, and they just wanted to go up and down the strip. That's not a problem, and you can't do everything. I'd like to. It's something it's nice to do, but you can't do everything when you're there. And I think what we did do was good enough. I mean, the Sphere especially is very well worth visiting. Do go to the Sphere and see a show there. I mean, the Postcard from Earth thing is fantastic. It's just 50 minutes long, but it absolutely blew my mind. Didn't use any buses either. Never got to go to the Grand Canyon or anything like that. I did see some signs offering tours of the Grand Canyon, including helicopter flights. Didn't have the time or money for those. You can never do anything while you're there. I mean, and once the conference started, it was, all different. Gary says, "P.S. But thank you very much for the advice in arrears for me going there. Funnily enough, I did actually, some of the advice you gave me, other people gave me, like the thing to do with the flights, and I didn't. Well, I didn't kind of go along with the Tesco's things because I knew I was going Club World. I thought I didn't need to. I'm waiting for the shill comments, by the way, for that. Gary says, "P.S. Every time I took a taxi in Las Vegas, the driver would ask where I was from, and surprise, surprise, they would tell me they had family or two who lived there. What are the chances of that, hey?" I started making up place names, and they had, would you believe it, they also had family members living in those fictional towns. Oh, right. It took 2 taxis, like I said, and the taxis were very talkative. The drivers were very talkative. They appeared to be Mexicans. It's Hispanic people, and they didn't really... But they didn't talk about that. They didn't ask me where I was from. And that was only when I went to and from the airport with Colin and Mark, yeah. Dark Corners. "Ben, whilst you're in that part of the world, do you have any plans on visiting Rachel, Nevada? A stop off at the Little Alien would be right up your street, I imagine, and not forgotten the black mailbox and the Area 51 gates." All right, well, Dark Corners, as you know, if you've seen the video, I did tick off one of those things, the Little Alien. I would have gone to the black mailbox and Area 51 gates, but, those things that really need to be done in daylight, I think, and didn't get the chance to do that. Maybe if I go there again, I will. And Garrett says, "Yes, that's better than visiting the Grand Canyon or Los Angeles. He'd be in his element there." Well, Los Angeles is still a good few hundred miles away. I was hoping to visit. I was hoping that. Well, I was hoping to maybe go to. There's somebody I was hoping to meet up with there who lives in California. That's Terry Joyce basically. But I did invite her to come to the event, but she didn't turn up. Gary says also be careful of hookers. There are a lot of them in Las Vegas. Yeah, well, there was lots of young women dressed in very skimpy outfits who wanted their photo. They were like the photo people who were determined to get photos of you, which they could then sell for like $20 or something. Probably, if you offer them a bit more money, they might offer other services as well. It's not against the law there. Gary says, oh, sorry, Hudek says to Gary, he might have to test them like Crocodile Dundee. Oh, yeah. Gary says to Hudek, in that case, I would avoid the more expensive ones that hang around the casino bars and stick to the ones on the strip, apparently. Jam Noise says to Gary, the Grand Canyon is a must, and I agree about the sleeping bag. Don't pack a sleeping bag. Yes, that was the bulkiest part of my that was the bulkiest part of my luggage to the Isle of Man, which I didn't need and didn't use the whole time I was there because I had a perfectly good bed. 85 Dark Corners. Ben, on the subject of David Lynch, I too recently watched Inland Empire and found it a real slog to get through. Although many Lynch fans consider it some of his best, most introspective work, it just didn't gel with me. Perhaps if I'd been smoking some of Hugo Roon's special herbs, it might have made more sense to me. As it stands, I am at a loss. I understand the film began life as a series of short films which Lynch decided to tie together with some kind of narrative which probably goes some of the way to explain its disjointed, trippy style. Yes, that might explain it, Dark Corners. Another would be that the Hugo Roon smoking material is something that Lynch actually took himself while he was making it. But it was a slog to get through. I don't think it's particularly. I certainly it's not his most. I don't know about introspective. It's certainly not his most impressive work. It's very confusing, very surreal, and I didn't quite work out what was good. It doesn't seem to have any real storyline. And of course it is like it's bilingual as well. I mean, half the dialogue is in Polish, although it has subtitles. I thought, well, why is that? No, I think next stop is I'm going to try Blue Velvet next. I think I really was impressed with Twin Peaks. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe try Blue Velvet. Right, 85 Straw Person says they are interesting to listen to. Proper interactive viewing. All right, I think you may be referring to something I've forgotten. Again, it's a long time ago. I am down the road from Cambridge and would have driven you to the UFO talk if I'd known it was on. Oh. Straw Person, I'll let you. If you just follow the HPANWO Voice blog. All my talks are announced. I always announce them in advance there, so do check those out. My own fault. I wonder what Larry Warren is up to these days. Bentwater's base looks really overgrown now. Have you visited Orford Ness? It's worth a video. Yeah. Larry is still active on social media. He has posts every so often about various things, usually commentary on various subjects. Yeah. Excuse me. Bentwaters, yeah. The whole area around the old bases looks overgrown. I've not actually been to Orford Ness, but yeah, I would. I think I would probably like to visit more of that area. Yeah, I'm sure Derek will take me on a grand tour the next time I go there. He's like that, Derek. Bless him. Right, 85. Oh, I get it. Why you repeat the quotes? Says Popcorn Boxing. Yeah, well, I try to make you understand which is which. When one of you guys is talking and when I'm giving commentary, I try to find ways of doing that. With Steve mumbling, it's easy. I just have a voice. I just have a voice for him. But with others, it's not so easy. 85. Gary Robinson. Ben, mate, I had a look on Google to see if I could find any of Ridley Scott's conceptual artwork for his abandoned version of Dune, and I was surprised to find some artwork by H.R. Giger, who designed the alien from the movie of the same name. There is a pretty frightening design for the sandworm, which looks very much like the alien xenomorph creature. Cheers. Oh, thanks, Gary. I'll check that out. I will have I'll do a bit of Googling and find that myself. Thanks. And we have Raza Vihari on Apollo, UFOs and Tesla. And we have here Phase 52012, who says here, why does a physicist stroke astrophysicist stroke quantum physicist not know that the ascent engines of the A-17 LEM used Aerosine 50 fuel and N2O4 oxidizer? These ignite on contact. These hypergolic burn clear. You cannot see them. See the Gemini launchers. And why does he state that the Astrovest is made from boron nitride nanotubes when it's made using high density polyethylene? It takes 5 minutes to look up that little fact and verify it. That's when I raise my voice. Those are capitals. That's capitalization. The answer is I don't know why he doesn't know that, or if that's true, or maybe he didn't have that information to hand, which is why people like you can come and correct us. Phase. I don't think anything you've really said here is really a rebuttal of any of the points we made. I mean, it's like it's kind of like a bit of details. I mean, I remember when I did my talk I did my little talk at Weird Weekend North in, was it 2018? And I got the name of one of the ships wrong. And Steve Jones put his hand up and said, he wanted to ask a question. And he said, just wanted to tell you, I didn't know Steve very well in those days, but I was a bit annoyed with him before I realised that he's kind of like that, and it doesn't bother me anymore. But he said, Ben, it was this ship, not that ship. And I said, right, duly noted. Next question. Now, for some reason, Phase has just repeated the same question again. This could be because I think Phase, the reason you've repeated the same question may be because it went into the spam folder for some reason, and I have liberated. I just checked the spam folder and liberated all the spam again. So there you go. So I've So I must apologise, actually, if people have posted legitimate comments and they've ended up in the spam folder. I mean, I have the spam settings are on the lowest sensitivity possible, so I don't know why anything ends up there, but sometimes it does. Okay, theory of permanent disclosure. Again, this is a good video of my very interesting, very good talk I did at East Anglia UFO Group. Bumbleina77 says, I can't wait for Mumbling to eat humble pie, a really humongous slice. Well, Bumbleina, he has already a few times, but I was hoping he would eat some more, but he's not doing this debate with me. He's just avoiding the topic now. Whenever I mention it, he just avoids it, which I think is a great shame. Right, here we go. This is my comment. This is my I made a community notice about the fact that I said I'm not going to do a roving review of Dune Part 2 by Denis Villeneuve, because the first one really was average at best, and nothing anywhere near as good as the David Lynch original. What I decided to do instead, and I suggested, was a watch-read party for the original novel and the Lynch adaptation, which I think is more than compensation for not reviewing the Villeneuve Dune Part 2. And Tor Engen says, yes please. Alright, Tor, you shall have it. In fact, I've already done the intro, so yeah, good idea. Thanks very much. And now we have a thread from Cold Case Twitter voicemail. Hugo Rune, not only first comment, but first view. Wow. Yeah, Hugo, you are literally crouching by the computer. When's Ben going to upload something? When's Ben going to upload it? When's Ben going to... Oh, he's uploading something! Quick! First view, first comment. But anyway, congratulations to Hugo. Tinfoil hat is on its way to you now. And Steve071 says, well done, Hugo. You're on fire tonight. Yes. And Hugo says, thank you. Got spliffs in my tin, of course. And nothing as it seems says the Runemeister. Jamnosh says, Hugo, are you okay? What did I do to say or upset you? Let's roll off Fat One and talk about it. Hugo says, I'm baffled. I do not recall anything. Please remind me. I have nothing negative with you in mind. Sorry. And Jamnosh says, oh, my mistake, Hugo. You must have been super high and missed a few comments. My comments to you. No worries. I hope you have lots in the tin. Hugo says, honestly, You have not upset me. I'm baffled by this, my mental problems, but I have nothing but positive memories about you, honestly. I would love to share a spliff with you. I've got over 40 in my tin. Steve-O says, Hugo, just light up another skin. Everything's grand. You know, guys. Yeah. Jam Noises on Jam Noises channel. She's actually got a spliff with her in Lanzarote, and she says, "I'm looking for a place to smoke this quietly." She says, "I need a place to. Where can I smoke my spliff?" And she's on the beach at night, and it looks really cool there. It looks really a really nice place. It really does. Cold Case Twitter voicemail says, it's about Africa. Nice one, Ben. Been there. Yeah, you've been everywhere though, Hugo, haven't you? Yeah. But yes, I know you have. Yes, you've 34 countries, wasn't it? Which is cool. Yeah. And Hugo says, yes, Illuminatus. Thank you for this. All right, you've read it too, Hugo. Brilliant book. And you're welcome. Fantastic book. My favourite novel, definitely. And of course, it mentions Bioko, the island of Bioko, which seems to be where these, if these numbers are geogrid coordinates, which is not certain, that's where they appear to be. It's got nothing to do with MH370. It's actually in Africa. It's on the land, but it's in the Gulf of Guinea, not far from Bioko, formerly Fernando Poo, which is a big part of plays a big part in the story of the Illuminatus trilogy. Hugo says, I'm ex-military. I obviously recognised it. Yeah, it's the phonetic alphabet, of course, is used by military communications. If you're on the radio, on communicating by radio, you'd use the phonetic alphabet. In fact, anyone who has to use walkie-talkies needs to learn has to learn the phonetic alphabet, which is what this strange voicemail was. Alright, we have InsureTech on Cold Case Twitter voicemail. Ben, are you going to investigate Ashton Forbes' claims? Personally, I think they're quite compelling. I know that name, but I haven't looked into it. Who's Ashton Forbes? I keep having to Google things that I've not really looked into. I've kind of been off grid a little while because I'm getting ready for being away for 8 days. Ashton Kutcher? No. Ashton Kutcher's an actor he was in that horrible film, Butterfly Effect. Very, very... very horrible, really nasty, really very unpleasant and depressing movie. Forbes. Ashton Forbes is who? Ashton Forbes, law officers of... Alright, Ashton Forbes, Instagram, LinkedIn. Ashton Forbes, Infogram. MH370 whistleblower. Right. Ah, yes. I've seen this video.
Wherever those girls went, they brought something back with them.
Right. So I got this is MH370 whistleblower exposed by Julian Dorey. Yes, I've seen this. I've seen this video. I didn't remember his name, but yeah, I didn't remember his name.
We receive 40.
Sorry, this. I'm not going to watch this video. So it's infested with ads. I'm not going to watch it. Sorry.
You've
got like a minute of ads to go. But I think I've seen the video before. Am I going to investigate it? I will. Maybe it's a good idea to do so. Seeing as this really has come up in this story about the Twitter voicemail. As I said, I personally don't believe there's a connection to MH370. I have actually done an entire video on MH370. Maybe I should just watch this video again. I'll watch it again in SureTech, and I will maybe let you know what I think about it. And in a future production. Nothing as it seems. Same video. Romeo Echo Tango. Oh my goodness, that means R-E-T. Oh my goodness. Well, it's a whole string of these letters which spell out this message. Wayne Model Builder says on Cold Case Twitter voicemail, yes, do a crazy plane lady video. As you said, I'm surprised you didn't do one sooner. Yeah, and of course, Wayne, you're right, and of course I have done one. Yes. As for the crazy plane lady, I might have to do another update. I'll probably just make it an article on her HPANWO voice. It's just she's done an interview. I did retweet it where she's. I haven't actually watched the whole thing yet, so I'm going to have to watch that at some point and get back to you. It'll probably just be probably won't be a video, but I will do an update on this case. Same video, Jam Noise 72. I found some of this quite creepy. I had to mute it. Lol. It is. I mean, I do. It is. In fact, I do understand why. I do understand very much why Ty strayed away. I understand why he was freaked out by this, especially because he's not a woo-woo like me. He's he's kind of a skeptic. I mean, it's perhaps someone who's indifferent doesn't even think about it. It does sound. If I got that, I'd be intrigued because I am a woo-woo. But so I'd probably react differently to how he did, but I'd still be disturbed. David Splendid Isolation says on the same video, have you seen the John Cusack film called The Numbers Station? No, I saw the trailer for it. It sounds bloody interesting. It really, really does. It really sounds very interesting indeed. I've just realised something. I've got to do the gas banner tonight. Yeah, which I'll have to get down to actually after I've done this. Emlyn-Jones says here on Cold. Oh, she's a listener to the gas banner. That's why. He's not the type of person who would make up this story, but he's also extremely woke and left-wing. That's Ty. Yeah. Obviously, such people are routinely paragons of truth and justice with impeccable moral standards. Clearly, then, there's no possibility he could have made it up. I think you're being sarcastic there, Rhiannon, and you know what? I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, being a sort of wokeist, he's not someone I would particularly trust with most things. But for the reasons I explain, that's why I think he must make up lots of stories. But this is one story he would not have made up. This is a story I think he would not have done. It's not in the nature of people who think in those terms to make up stories of this kind. That's what I think is going on here. Can we have more of these reviews of cold cases, Ben? I really enjoyed this. Certainly, Rhiannon. Yes, I will certainly think of some others to do. Maybe you can suggest some, or maybe other viewers can suggest some. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks. I really enjoyed it, she says. I wonder if there's any information concerning the phone number from which the message was left on Ty's phone. Maybe it was left by some heinous Trump fan. No, it was from an unknown number. It was from a hidden number. In his interview with Shane Dawson in the YouTube video you refer to, Ty says that he was initially just rolling with it and found it interesting before all the comments about linking it to the Malaysia Airlines conspiracy took off, and that it was only then he felt things go crazy. Oh right, yeah, maybe that is when he first started tweeting how alarmed he was. If that is genuinely how he felt, then why did he instantly post a tweet saying he was deleting his cell phone service as soon as he received the message? Possibly because he may have lied to Shane, or edited. He may have forgotten how, it sort of just twisted things when he was talking to Shane. Seems like a very drastic action for someone who's not initially that concerned. I would suggest this contradiction is very important to consider when trying to deduce what is actually going on here. Yeah. I don't know, it could be just when he was with Shane he wanted to put on a bravado or something, I don't know. Because, I mean, his initial tweet was someone frightened and very worried, and, saying he's throwing his phone, he's deleting everything, it's like, what? He was really, really scared. So, yeah, I mean, that does seem to be a contradiction, definitely. Yeah. Cold Case Twitter voicemail, Diego Rivera says, it was a call asking him if he had been involved. It was a call asking him if he had been involved in a UFO accident. Well, it says what danger, something. It was more like a warning to somebody who seems to be involved with something, talking about, well, they're not human. Saying, oh, they're not human. Yeah. I mean, what is it he said? I can't remember the actual words, but it just seems to be some kind of message which is a warning to somebody who's involved with something that's not human. Yeah. Okay, we have now Hassash. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ty said a few days before he received the international code message, some guy had been mysteriously watching his house. He'd been disturbed previously. Oh, right. I thought it was just after Hassash. They might be wrong. It's not an Australian phone number because it's 2 numbers too long. I've been given long phone numbers. The last 2 numbers are for directing you to a specific room inside a big office complex. Oh, right. See, so the numbers, yeah. I didn't. I thought it was an assumption that these were like geogrid coordinates. I know there's nothing to indicate they were, other than people stringing them together with like so many norths, sort of minutes, seconds north, so many east, things like that. If you get someone on the phone, you tell them, I want room so and so. The number is those last two numbers. I see. So that's interesting, Hashash, because you now come up with another idea about what those numbers could mean. Because I was kind of like thinking, well, we should just forget the numbers altogether, because there was a lot of speculation about it, which could have meant anything. So I thought the best thing to do is just to forget about it. Hashash also says here, a photograph has appeared of an inhuman guy on a plane with a kind of Spockish ear is visible. She's announced she's going to say a lot more about what happened, including an article she's about written to be published soon. All right, I think you're talking here about the crazy plane lady, Hashash. I've done an entire video about that. The Spockish ear thing, that I don't think that's real. I think I know the one you mean. It's the sort of one with the guy with the green hoodie. I don't think that's real, if that's what you're talking about here. But you posted this on the Cold Case Twitter voicemail, not Crazy Plane Lady. Cold Case Spaceman 87186 says, Ben, I think this was from an Art Bell show back in the early 2000s, sourced from a ham radio, first warning alert codes or something from the US military. Wow. Well, if you can actually find that, Spaceman, I'd be very interested. I mean, I used to listen to Art back in those days. I don't remember it, but if you can find that, that would be fantastic. Because that would be a very interesting way of dealing with the mystery. Jarl Ansley 158 says some of these phantom calls, the one where there's stuff going on in the background, must also be accidental phone dialing. Yeah, it could be that. It's possible that some of them, I mean, it'd only be a few though, because it would be an incredible coincidence otherwise. Some of them may actually be, for example, someone just basically sitting down and arse dialing randomly on their keypad, and they somehow come up with a number, and that's what you can hear in the background. But only a few of those, I think. Right, Cold Case Twitter voicemail. Bill Bailey says, I think you should do one of those wearing a big lady's wig, but not mention it. I've worn a wig. I wore a wig at the Outer Limits magazine conference. Remember that? Right, now we have Halloween Vigil, and my papa's 6046 says Halloween. Oh, we've got here a Halloween special, and he's got a YouTube link here. And this is Chuck Smith, The Pagan Invasion Hollywood Special.
The Pagan Invasion is an explosive new 13-part video series providing a thorough behind-the-scenes examination of today's New Age movement, neo-pagan revival.
Oh, right. That sounds like one of these sort of American, Bible-thumping, oh my God, everyone who, everyone who plays Ring a Ring of Roses is working for the devil and things like that. But, all right, well, thanks for that. Thanks for that, mate. I know there are some people, very radical Christians, who do say they're going to have nothing to do with Halloween as a result. I got to send a text message to somebody quickly because I just got to remind somebody. I might as well do it here. I'll just say, remember, Sunday night is Spanner night. Yes, so Sunday. Excuse me for dropping out. I won't edit this bit out. Sunday night is Spanner night. Here we go. Sunday night is Spanner night. There we go. That's the Gas Spanner, which is my radio show I do about hospital portering matters. I just got to send that to somebody. Okay, so we now have Neil Peel, the Paranormal Peep Show at Halloween Vigil. First time, first comment, and I say well done, Neil. Tinfoil hat on its way to you in the mail, says Gary Robinson. Neil says, I'll wear it with pride and dignity. Well done, Neil. This was, of course, was a live stream, but because I've had comments underneath it. Tessa111 says, Happy Samhain. Samhain, yes, Samhain. It's spelled S-A-I-M-H. It's Irish, I think. And it means, it's the pagan Halloween. The Halloween vigil. We have Jeff Hindley saying, When you were defining what a ghost is, I was reminded of Matt Berry's Ghosts monologue. Very funny stuff. I don't think the Schultz Gold story got aired. If I wasn't struck asleep or abducted, it stopped at Coney Island and went off at a tangent. All right. Matt Berry's Ghost monologues. I don't know that. Is it like is that a comedian? Very funny stuff. The Schultz Ghost story. What was that? Was that something I said? Oh dear. Yeah. Oh, what was it? I can't let you remember now. I can't remember. Anyway, Halloween Vigil Dark Corners UK says, I once saw a shadow man standing in the centre of my living room. I was in a half-asleep state, as you were when you saw your vision. This shadow man must have been 7 feet tall and with a slightly hunched back. I wasn't scared of him, but rather felt sorry for him. He was quite a pathetic creature, and I felt an intense sadness from him. All right, that's interesting. That's that's again, that's kind of like a hypnagogic thing, like I did. Very interesting. And Neil says, how long ago was that, out of interest? Dark Corners. Probably a year or so. I remember it vividly because I was playing a video on my main TV, a video game on my main TV. It was last a night, and as often happens, mid-gaming session, I could feel myself zoning out. Then I got the feeling I wasn't alone. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this tall spectral figure hunched over, looking down at me. The whole thing only lasted maybe a few seconds. Yeah, that's a typical. Thanks for sharing that with us, Dark Corners. That's a very typical hypnagogic vision. Very interesting, yeah. A bit like what I had, yeah. I was able to verify mine, but maybe yours doesn't. Just because you couldn't verify it doesn't mean it's not real. Neil says to DC, very interesting. Is your place old or perhaps haunted? Was the figure close to a doorway, window or structure, stairs, cupboards, etc.? Dark Corners. No, the building is relatively new. I'd say 90s possibly. It was built at the side of an old bakery. I've been looking for information online, but there's very little to be found about the land before my terrace was built. And he says here, the figure stood dead centre of the living room, not near any stairs, doors or windows. Neil says, thanks for telling me. Very interesting indeed. Did it scare the hell out of you? Dark Corners. No, not really. I felt more of a sense of pity, if that makes any sense. Neil says, yes, it does. With its hunchback too. It might be a person that once lived there, but perhaps distorted via one reality into another, so the size is all skewed, etc. But it might have had a spinal problem in life. Halloween Vigil, Dark Corners. I thought you were dressed up as Jimmy Savile in that picture, lol. I couldn't get a white hair wig, so I got very light blonde. It's supposed to be David Icke. Okay, cold call Twitter voicemail. Keith Smith says, Ben, shouldn't it not be ex-hospital porters against the New World Order? No, it shouldn't be, because it's once a hospital porter, always a hospital porter. Keith Smith says, P.S. Someone has simply recorded a number station message. Makes for a good conspiracy theory, though. No, Keith, and I explain why I don't think that's the case in the video. It doesn't make sense. The nature of the message, the person it was sent to, things like that. Also, if a number station is giving out that message, who's the number station for? David Smith says, I once saw a ghost of a T-Rex chasing the ghost of a horse. Oh, blimey, David Smith, that's scary. That is like that's real Jurassic Park stuff, isn't it? Larry Warren in Rendlesham Forest, 2017. This is an old one. Here we go. Astrocat City says, Larry is quite comical. I like it. I'm going to hit up some used bookstores for a copy of his book. Oh yeah, the book's out of print, but there's still lots of copies floated around of Left Eastgate, Astro City. You can probably get them quite cheaply. But it's actually, you may find him comical. Just wait. Have you seen the Hunting Morons video that Tino did? If you haven't seen that, now that is funny. That is really funny if you've not seen that. You will like that. Definitely you will like that one. Something has gone wrong with this bean counter I've got here. Oh, I don't know what's... Anyway. That's my countdown clock. Cold Case Twitter voicemail. Big Dangerous Dan says, he feared it so much, he put it on the net and told everyone about it. Well, you know, in this day and age, Big Dangerous Dan, that's what probably a normie would do. You know, everyone's lives are so public now, and some people live for social media, and they just post everything. Every time they go to the toilet, they say, "Just go into the toilet now, back in a minute." They literally do that. So it's actually no wonder that someone of his age, and he's a guy in his early 20s, I'd say, it's no wonder someone of his age would do that. Okay, we have now Big Billy Bores says, on Halloween Vigil, "Hi Ben, total change of subjects, but could you please help me? I remember in one of your videos you told the story of some sort of round viewing platform with people on board descending over a village in England. Could you retell the story? I can't find the original." And I put in a text reply to him, and I says, "Hi Billy, the video is called the Aldeburgh platform. It should be visible on the channel. It's certainly on all my old tech pages. I posted it in October 2021. I won't add the link to avoid the spam filter. I'll be glad to bring this up on the next reply to comments video." So there you are, Billy. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it and enjoyed it. And finally, a new video, Crazy Plane Lady, Gary Robinson. "I forgot about her. P.S. First, bitches." and Jamnosh says, "Biatch," second, and laughs. I say, "Well done, Gary. I didn't have time to address this back then, but I did 2 HPANWO voice articles." I did indeed, and of course now I've done a video on the Crazy Plane Lady, and she's still, and she's still out and about doing her stuff. And indeed, she's done a interview which I'm going to check out. Gary Robinson says, "Ben, mate, please tell me you've done all." This is on Gary. This is on Crazy Plane Lady. "Ben, mate, please tell me you've done all your pre-checks for this upcoming trip. Also, I left you some plane tips in the previous comment. Cheers." And Popcorn says, "What checks are these?" And I say, "Thanks, Gary," in text. "I know you fly quite a bit. Yes, I've got everything I need. In fact, Colin has basically been guiding me, and he's a pro." That's right. Colin's sort of giving me a list of things. And Gary says here, "Different countries require different pre-checks on people. In some cases, you cannot board a plane unless you've done this 48 hours prior to flying. I've seen perfectly innocent people deported upon arrival in the USA, for example, because they didn't do the pre-checks and somehow made it onto the plane. Preparedness makes us strong." That's right, Gary. And you know what I did? I know I had to get the ESTA, which is the visa waiver. I got that approved very quickly, and all the insurance I got as well. Things like that. And Gary says to me here, "My other advice for transatlantic flights, here, take some sandwiches from Tesco's." All right, you mentioned this, yeah. "Oh, I don't get tempted to drink the alcohol on the flight." Well, I did drink a bit of alcohol, yeah. And Popcorn says to Gary, "Does Ben need the jab? And why can't he have a drink on the flight?" And Gary says, "No, you don't need one for the USA right now. That's the jab. He can, if he wants, drink, but I would advise against it in my experience of long-haul flights. It stops you from sleeping properly if you're tired, and it makes you feel like crap. It also makes you feel worse when you arrive." Well, Gary, certainly if you overdo it, and I mean, it's tempting to because it's all free, and they're always coming and asking if you want some. And what's more, if you fly Club World, you can actually, this is with British Airways and there's other first class for other airlines. You can actually go just when they're out of the way. You can just go into the kitchen area and help yourself. They just leave the bottles there, and you just go and drink them yourself. Popcorn says to Gary, "I had an email once from an airline reminding me not to bring any firearms, ammunitions, and poisons onto the flight. I was thinking, damn, I'll have to leave my poison at home now." Yes, I saw the same thing when I was checking in. They have like a big list of things you're not allowed to bring on, including acids, biological material, gun, any kind of firearm, and all these other things just in case. The Crazy Plane Lady again. Light Hazzles says here, "Ben, have you seen the recent satellite planes footage of what is said to be MH370 being surrounded by orbs and then disappearing into a portal? The researcher who found it is Ashton Forbes." Yes, and it makes for very chilling viewing, if at all anywhere near true. Yes, I saw the video. As I said, I didn't look at it very carefully, and I should have done. And someone's already requested that they want me to comment on it, which I shall do. However, from what I've seen so far, it doesn't really look very convincing, to be honest. I know there are 2 separate angles on it. Indeed, Andrew Johnson has just done a video on it where he seems to think it's probably true. I'm pretty dubious about it, but I'll look into it in more detail. Neil says interesting. That's Neil 7245, not Paranormal Peep Show. David Smith says already debunked. All right. Well, David, if it's been debunked, I'll check that out as well. I'm looking at both sides of this particular issue. Crazy Plane Lady. Gary Robinson says, oh, this kind of thing never happens on UK to USA flights. That's the Crazy Plane Lady. People doing what she did. It never happens on UK to USA flights, so don't worry. Traditionally, you only get crazy people on USA internal flights. All right, well, good job I didn't take one of those. I flew direct to Las Vegas. Ian Gosling said, that English bloke broke with tradition then. All right, that's now he was on a flight from Croatia to Stansted. Ian, that's not transatlantic. Gary says to Ian, in my experience, everyone is either docile or stressed on transatlantic flights. Never seen any aggro in nearly 20 years. Only aggro I ever had was non-English speaking Asian families who somehow had US passports. They were booked to sit next to me by chance, and the wife started screaming and saying that white people smell bad. Her husband apologised to me. I was offered a different seat. It was clear that I wasn't happy to sit with a crazy lady. Not sure why she didn't get handcuffed for that. Well, yeah, I mean, if a white person said, "Oh, non-white people smell bad," they would probably be removed from the plane. Even if the plane was like at 40,000 feet, they'd probably be thrown out the door. You know. Same video, Gary Robinson. They do tend to have a lot of bars and pubs in the US airports, Ben, mate, so she could have been P-I-S-S-E-D, yes. Well, if so, then I'm surprised they let her on. I mean, we did talk about this when we were in the posh bar in Las Vegas, when they were basically plying us with free drink. You know, we can't have too much. If we get completely pissed up, They won't let us on the plane. You can't have drunk people on the plane. And we have here same video. Cole Costello says, probably on a come down or come up from all the prescription pills available in the good old US of A. That's probably a good. That is actually probably a reason. That's probably a likely theory, actually, Cole. Definitely. And Gary says, entirely possible, to be honest. Doesn't take much for people over there to lose their shit. Yeah. And David says to Gary, unlike swapping a well-known film franchise's male character for a female one, then it's the end times. The end of times. Yes, this is David Smith sort of bringing up a little debate that he and Gary had before, which I took Gary's side very much. Crazy Plane Lady Gary Robinson. On transatlantic flights, Ben, the US airlines always have an air marshal on board, especially for people like this. Oh, right. So there may have been one on the plane. That case, there would have been one on the plane. I flew British Airways. I don't know if they have them, but yeah, the air marshal is like an undercover cop who basically travels incognito with the passengers on a plane. Can't be a very interesting job. You just basically sit there in case there's some trouble. You're not allowed to sleep or eat or drink alcohol either, which is makes for a bit of a boring flight. And you also have to sit in economy. But yeah, they may have had an air marshal on there. Yeah. Now Emlyn-Jones, who says here on Crazy Plane Lady, self-entitled, obnoxious, and paranoid. That's true. She does come across that way, doesn't she, Rhiannon? Yeah. She's clearly suffering from Western feminist disease. Case solved. There's no need to consider anything paranormal, conspiratorial, or in any sense woo-woo here. All right. I don't know about that, Rhiannon. She may well have Western feminist disease. I don't think that actually covers her behaviour in any way. If she had that, she would probably have said something like, that white man over there, I don't want to sit next to that horrible white man, he might rape me, or something like that. She'd probably say something like that, and she didn't, which is why I don't think that explains it. Rhiannon continues, the Western world is full of people like her, a mix of self-entitlement and mental unwellness, most likely brought on from substance misuse and narcissistic rage, is all it takes. Had she been 6'2" and male, she would most likely have received a far less lenient response from the security staff. Probably, yeah. People have meltdowns all the time. It's just that the public don't usually see them, so when they do, it seems exotic and unexplainable. Ask any mental health worker, teacher or police officer. It's sadly all too common. Well, it's the idea that she had some kind of mental breakdown. Yeah, that is a distinct possibility. As far as it probably is a meltdown caused by that. Like I said, I don't think it's unlikely drugs or alcohol were involved, because that would have been spotted by the ground staff and she wouldn't have been allowed to board. But mental breakdown, yeah, quite possibly. And Rhiannon continues, the other very likely possibility here is that Tiffany, being a marketing executive, had the whole thing planned from the start as a self-promotion campaign, which appears to have worked very well. The fact that she says she cannot comment about what she saw would further support this hypothesis as she continues the mystery. That, Rhiannon, well, certainly whether she did that for the purposes of creating this, what she called herself, a viral sensation. She says that on her website. She certainly is being very opportunistic about it and exploiting her newfound infamy, isn't she? I mean, like I said, I showed you her website where she says quite clearly, was it viral celebrity or something like that she calls herself. She shut down her original LinkedIn page and she started a new one, as you say, to be a self-promotion campaign, yeah. So she's certainly making the most of it, isn't she? I mean, she may not have. This may not have been something she intended, but certainly after it happened, she thought, "Well, I'm now all over the internet, so I might as well make the most of it." Yeah. Rhiannon says, either way, tedious and nothing of essential worth here. So my advice would be to move along and deny Tiffany the attention she clearly craves. All right, well, Rhiannon, I won't be giving her any more than I feel is necessary to address this mystery. And although of course I don't agree with what you said here completely, I think it's a possibility that she may be suffering from some kind of mental problem, in which case I will just drop it all. I mean, it all depends where this whole mystery leads. I think until that happens, though, I think I will still continue to cover it, but not for the purpose of giving her attention for its own sake, I can assure you. Yarlenzi says, if self-promotion, it's hardly the kind that would give you confidence in her and make you hire her. Well, I certainly wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't, no. Rhiannon says that would depend entirely on what she's selling, Yarlenzi. Jam Noise says, what does her desperate attempt for attention have to do with feminism? Rhiannon replies, feminist culture of modern Western society has created and encouraged a particular breed of self-entitled, narcissistic women who are prone to attention-seeking amongst other negative personality traits. This is, of course, based on my own humble observations, and nobody's required to agree with me, Jam Noise. and that's the end of the thing. And I've actually put the wrong I put the wrong thing in as a reply, because I've actually, believe it or not, I've got something on my clipboard from the gas spanner, which I'll just delete and correct, although Rhiannon will probably recognise it. So there we go. That's there we go. I do have to do the gas spanner soon. I'll do that and then come back to this video. Yarlanzi also says on the same video here, not real. If reptilian, she might have said nor human. Not suggest it's not a real person, like an NPC in a video game, which has also become a thing likened with us, being trapped in a virtual reality prison and everything being fake. The whole reptilian thing has been speculation online, and it's a good sign that the idea is now so popular that people will actually entertain the idea, at least. I mean, that's probably a healthy sign. But no, she's never said it was a reptilian. She just said that person over there is not real. That's all she said. And she suggested there was some kind of danger to the aircraft because of it, which she demanded to be disembarked. Crazy plane lady. Where are you flying, Ben? Have a safe trip wherever it is. Thanks, Neil. As you know, it's Las Vegas. Gary Robinson says, going on a search for the Mexican mummies, I reckon. Steve Mayer has already done that. Neil says, you can put him up, Gary. Gary says he's got a place to stay if he ever finds himself south of the border. Oh, Gary, I'd be glad to come and see you, mate. I really would. I'd be glad to pay you a visit. I really would love to. Yeah. Same video here. Jam Noise 72 says here. A few of these incidents happened at the same time. If this really happened to this woman, why did she not carry on with her story when she came off the plane? She would have been ranting to everyone that would listen to her. She wasn't. I think it's an act, to be honest. The boxer and the Chinese guy, I emailed you a link to that. Maybe some kind of psyop. Oh, that, yeah. That was a bit... That was weird, wasn't it? These screeching and yelling. I thought... That was... I don't think that's the same thing. I mean, he sounded more like... It was almost like a bellow of terror. As if he was on some of that. He was on some of that drug, that crocodile drug or something. I don't know. It certainly wasn't what they were saying. Oh, he was sitting next to a baby crying or something like that. As for an actor, I don't think she was acting. I think she has actually been. She's actually sort of like taken advantage of the situation since. She seemed to calm down when she was off the plane, but she was still sort of saying, "Oh, she was still claiming the plane was going to come to some kind of disaster." Yeah, but it is odd they all happened together, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Gary says to Jackie, yeah, the Chinese guy claiming he was in a time loop. That was a weird one. That'll be on your D&B night, Jackie, trying to escape. Jamnoy says the Chinese guy also claims to have seen the air hostess change her batteries. WTF? These people really should not take LSD before the flight. Yes, the whole D&B night would have been freaking me out, that's for sure. Now, LSD, of course, like someone on some drugs, there's some drugs you could take that might not be detected. You know, I mean, if someone's drunk or they're on smack or something like that, it's very obvious when you get check-in that you're intoxicated. Something like which is not has less physical impact, like a psychedelic, may not be. It may not immediately be apparent to ground staff that you've taken it, especially because like some of these things do take a while to work. For example, if you take oral DMT, you know there's a delay of like 20 minutes to half an hour, sometimes longer, before it has any effect on you. Yeah. But the hostess... I remember that Chinese thing, Jackie, that was weird. Very weird indeed. And the boxer guy, I think it was like a bellow of fear, but the Chinese guy was like a freak. That did freak me out. And Jam Noise says here on Crazy Plane Lady, have a safe journey, soul brother. Your flight will go without incident. Yeah, that's true, it did. Don't sit there looking around for reptilians, as it will be you that gets chucked out, lol. Please let me know if you get there safely. Big love and hugs. Please let me know you got there safely, and that's as I will. I'm sorry I didn't contact you when I was over there, Jackie. I just, I couldn't get my email to work. My texts weren't working. I could only get Facebook going. But yeah, where were you now? Here we go. Nell7245 says on Crazy Plane Lady, I recently recall after this lady on the plane, another incident occurred with a British boxer who went crazy and had to be restrained on a flight back from Croatia. That's correct, Neil. In fact, if you watch the whole video, I mention it. I think there's been several of these types of things on several aircraft, including freaky ghost voices coming through the intercoms whilst planes were in mid-flight. I think the last I heard about her, she was an actress. Excuse me. I think she's trying to become some kind of actress, Neil. She was originally a marketing executive. As for the ghost voices, I don't know about that. There's been some situations in which announcements occur on the intercoms which aren't meant to, like the pre-recorded, like, oh my, we're about to crash, please prepare for impact and things like that, which scared a lot of people. But didn't hear about ghost voices in the intercom. E.T. says the guy flying back from Croatia was having an episode of psychosis after having a concoction of drugs at a music festival. All right. That would make some sense, E.T., I think. Although, whatever he was on, it wasn't detected by the ground staff. So he managed to get through there without them realising there was something wrong with him, which they're trained actually to spot these things. David Smith says to E.T., that's exactly what they want you to think. Alright, David Smith is taking the mickey here, I think. E.T. says his mace confirmed that he was tripping for days without sleep. Right, he may have been amphetamine if it was stopping him sleeping. People on amphetamine can go for 3 or 4 nights and they don't sleep, and then when the drug wears off, they just go crash. But sleep deprivation can cause this kind of thing. It can cause you to become paranoid, and sometimes to have certain psychotic breaks and things like that. And David Smith says that's exactly what they want you to think. David, stop taking the mickey. Screaming LG, that's a good name. Screaming LG says safe travels, Ben. Thanks, Screaming LG, much appreciated. Crazy Plane Lady, Popcorn Boxing. Tom Cowling was the boxer on the flight. Right, Tom Cowling. All right, I didn't know his name. Thanks, Popcorn Boxing. Dark Corners says the apology video she gave after this incident was bizarre in and of itself. It almost felt like she was being coerced. I think you've been coached by somebody to give the apology, and many people online are speculating it's not even the same woman. If you watch the video side by side, the woman in the apology video does share a resemblance with the plane lady, but they are not identical. Right, in the apology video, she's got all her makeup on. Indeed, funnily enough, the supposed Gonzo interview she had with Vice, with TMZ in Los Angeles airport. Also, she's got all her makeup on, which means I don't think it was as gonzo and impromptu as people are thinking. She prepared for it. But I think it is the same woman, yeah. Dark Corners says, safe travels, mate. Thanks, Dark Corners. I had a really good journey. The journey was fine, both directions. 69 Phuket says, German trolley dollies, Luftkarrenkrieg, and stingy with the drinks, too. All right. They have ways of making you sit in your seat and all the drinks. Gott in Himmel. I'm sure Michael Shrimpton has something to say about German trolley dollies. Alan McBride says on Crazy Plane Lady, not to worry, the guy wasn't real. She said he's not real. And funny enough, I don't know what was she was no more. She wasn't actually any more precise than that, just like the Erickson sisters weren't. They said that guy's not real. They said the same thing. That someone is not real. Didn't say what he was, just he's not real. Ben W says all stinks of a huge publicity stunt. Right. I don't think it was a publicity stunt. Again, it wasn't the right kind of thing she said. However, Ben, there's absolutely no doubt that after it happened, she has decided to make the most of this opportunity by turning as much publicity towards her as she can. So yeah. Hi, the Lights Willow. Hi, Lights Willow. How you doing? Cold Case Twitter voicemail. Hi Ben. Not related to this case, but coordinates made me think. What do flat Earth believers use as coordinates? I assume they travel, fly, sail, and use Google Earth, all of which can, in some cases, cause for degrees of longitude and latitude. I'm guessing if the Earth is flat, then our coordinates won't work for them. Just saying. Interesting question, Lightswallow. Sorry, my nose is itching again. I don't know. I'll have to ask a flatty when I see one. I mean, I know plenty of them. I'm not anti them the way some people are. So I will try and find out, definitely. Anyway, guys, that's the end of hour number 2. I will be back with hour number 3 very shortly. Still, I think this is still going to be... We're only about 2/3 of the way through, so this will probably end up being quite a long video, which is to be expected. But anyway, back soon. Alright, my freaky darlings, welcome to hour number 3 of this comments reply video. I've done the Gas Banner show. Many thanks to Della for appearing in the live chat. There wasn't anyone else, but then I have been away for a couple of weeks, and maybe people sort of they lose the habit of taking part. So now I'm back. Hopefully I'll get more listeners to come. Anyway, yep, no shortage of viewers on HPANWO TV. Anyway, so where were we? Right, yes, we were. I'm recording, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay, we have the Gene Skinner interview now. We have the Gene Skinner interview, and we have someone called... This is an old video I did. It's one of my most popular, though. And Robert Collier says here, do you know where it is possible to see or get a copy of the documentary on Gene? Many thanks. Right, I don't know. I'll look into that for you. And I saw your comment the other day, and I have been trying to find time to do this, and I haven't actually had a chance yet. But I will do that as soon as I can, Robert. So if I find anything new, I will let you know. I must say, a lot of people have contacted me over this video. People I didn't even know about. People I've never met. I mean, Jason Harrington basically got in touch with me because of this particular event. So this particular video. It is quite historically important, I think, because Jean, of course, passed away a couple of months after this video was taking place, and of course is now on the other side herself. So yeah, I'll be in touch. But you can always email me, bennyj74@gmx.co.uk. If you go to the HPANWO Radio blog, you'll find the email there, and I'll be in touch. I'll let you know. Okay, we have the Crazy Plane Lady. And we have the Crafty Nihilist. How you doing, Crafties? Nice to see from you again. 3552. Looks like the MIB have zapped her. What's this?
I've been told I cannot comment on it right now.
What?
I see. What was the reason that you wanted to get off?
All right, that is the interview, the supposed impromptu, just unplanned, random, meeting by chance interview she did with a TMZ reporter. Yet she's got all her makeup on, as you know from the original video. She, like most people, she doesn't bother putting all her makeup on when she gets on a plane, because usually a big mess afterwards. So yeah, but she did have this kind of strange look, didn't she, in her eyes? Right, Meadows, part 1 of 2. Emlyn-Jones says first. And I put a little text message saying the MIB must have told you. Well, somebody told her. Last, says Lurvish. Anyway, Rhiannon, tinfoil hat on its way to you. Same video, DJ B2 says congrats to Rhiannon for getting in there first. And now I put a text comment on there. This is a text conversation here. Which is, of course, that I also put on a community notice, which is the video we're talking about, Meadows Part 1 of 2, was partially blocked because of a copyright issue. They gave me a chance to appeal it, and, of course, there was no point doing that. So I opted to trim a few minutes from it to free it from the block. Now, the reason I did that, and it didn't really bother me much, because, of course, by that time I had uploaded it to BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, and the actual version of the video you see on those alt text sites is intact. So that's all you have to do. All you have to do is go to I recommend doing that, to watch part 1 of 2. Watch part 1 of Meadows. Don't watch it on YouTube because there's about like 12 minutes missing from it. And also go to BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, watch it there, where you can see the bit that YouTube. I think it was actually very silly. It was obvious fair use situation, but you know, I did show quite a lot of it. What I did was I showed a few scenes from a documentary called BBC. In fact, this actually comes up in text here. Gary says, "What was the cause of the copyright, mate?" And I say I played 2 scenes from Conspiracy Road Trip UFO, and the trim actually is about 2 hours 40 minutes in. And yeah, they deleted the whole thing, which I know I used a lot of it, but I still think it's covered by fair use. But I mean, I couldn't be bothered to appeal it. It was not removed or blocked completely. It was only it was invisible in the UK and Crown Territory. So basically, that's the UK, Isle of Man, Channel Islands, Gibraltar, and that was it. All other countries you could see it normally. I thought it was silly. But the reason I think it's silly, and I didn't expect this, is because if you go to just go to YouTube and search Conspiracy Road Trip UFOs, there's copies of it everywhere, including lots of clips. There's about 4 or 5 different copies of it, for goodness sake. Some have been there years. And indeed, Kevin Michael Green says here, missing nothing there then. Watching anything from the BBC feels like paddling in poo. I know what you mean, Kevin, it really does. Yeah. Meadows, part 1 of 2. Jack Byrne says, I can't wait to watch this, Ben. Thanks, Jack. I couldn't wait to upload it. I mean, to me, I wanted this to be a masterpiece, because it's like just really, it's a place I've never been before, a massive conference which Gareth always said I should go. He always said I should go there. And I finally did it. I wanted this video to be a masterpiece, and I think it is something, I think, anyway. Yeah, it's like that. Videos from the Underground, says here on Meadows Part 1 of 2. Stairway to the Stars, Johnny Mathis. Is that a song by Johnny Mathis? I only know When a Child is Born is the Christmas song. Bus computer malfunction, a preview of our future. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, dear. The damn computer breaks down. The driver can't override it. So it is like, it's basically, he's like in a situation where he just has to go back. Oh. Yeah, he has to literally reverse the bus around because the computer says no, door's shut, but the door's open, but the door's not open, but the computer says it's open, so there. And that's if we let it. And exactly, says Videos Underground says, and that's if we let it. If an airline loses your bag, they are very good about finding it and delivering it to your home. Thanks, Videos. Actually, it was actually not the airline. It was actually the Oxford Bus Company, the coach that serves the airport that actually lost it. Well, they didn't lose it. I lost it. I forgot to pick it up because when you get off the coach, the driver goes round to the side and pulls all the bags out for people to pick up. And I didn't, did I? I didn't. But the good news is, when I didn't pick the bag up, they simply put it back on the coach, took it back to Oxford, and dropped it at the Oxford Bus Company Lost Property office. And I actually went and picked it up yesterday. So there you go. Sorry, Friday. I went and picked it up on Friday. So yeah. Videos continues. Terminal 3, used it many times. Flying business class is much better. Air Canada is usually the best in cheap seats. American TV channels are for the USA normies. The more you watch it, it will try to turn you into one of them. A normie, yeah. Las Vegas started as a mob town. Money, money, money. Glitzy neon everywhere. They have their own dam for electricity. Right, yeah. I've never flown with Air Canada. Flown with Singapore Airlines, British Airways, Norwegian, not Air Canada. But yeah, the American TV, from what I saw of it, is really bad. There's a couple of good programs. I saw this paranormal show, but basically, it's really crap. The programs are boring, and it's almost a relief when the multiple, almost routine, regular ad breaks come and they are every 10 minutes. I mean, they're all the time, compared to every 20 to 30 minutes on UK TV. Yeah, I was flying business or first class is always good if you can afford it, do it. I mean, the only reason I explained why I managed to do it. I looked into the history of Las Vegas, and it is actually not that old as a city. It was an outpost in the 19th century. The California Gold Rush affected it a lot, like I explained, and then really in the 20th century it became what it is today, like a big gambling town. They do have their dam. They have the Hoover Dam, which is nearby, which I wouldn't mind seeing. I never got the chance to. Yet it's not producing as much electricity as it used to, because the Lake Mead, the reservoir, is dropping. It's actually there's much less water now, caused by water consumption. Keith Smith says on Meadows 102, no one can say your head isn't in the stars. That's right. Then I had a couple of comments on my my community notice I put up, basically saying the same thing as the pinned notice on the video, which is that the Meadows was blocked. I mean, it was unblocked after quite quickly, within a few minutes of me just agreeing for the trim. I agreed to trim 12 minutes of it. And as Crafty Nihilist says here, go to Rumble for everything, guys. Even we're on it now, with just over 0 subscribers. The mass exodus has to start somewhere. Well, Crafty, you don't have 0 subscribers anymore. You have at least 1, because I've subbed to you. Angel Kenyon puts a thumbs up and a biceps emoji, which is very good. Thanks very much for that. And Mad Mesh says you have... Alright. Again, Mad Mesh is not making any sense to me, so I can't read that out. Right, Meadows part 1 of 2. UAPS28 says, wow, this is a really good reportage. Thank you very much, UAP28. Same video, Dark Corners. Hey, Ben, it's great to see you back. Missed you, bro. Fantastic reportage. Can't wait for part 2. Thanks very much, Dark Corners. And he also says here on the same video, you can't go to the US without visiting Hooters. It's a rite of passage for every heterosexual male. Well, I'm glad I achieved that at least. Gary Robinson says, welcome back, mate. Pride and dignity. Thanks. It's good to be back. I did miss you guys when I was away. And here, part 1, 2. Again, Gary says, me and the wife stayed at the Luxor about 10 years ago. Those lifts that go horizontal and diagonal are really bizarre, but I guess they have to be like that because of the pyramid structure. Alright, I never went on any lifts, Gary. I just went on escalators and stayed on the same floor. He carries on. I remember going up to our room one day and there was another bloke in the elevator with us, and as it started moving at a weird angle, he kind of panicked and turned to us and asked if he was going mad or if the lift was moving diagonally. I told him I had a similar freak out the first time we got into it, lol. Yeah. Same video, Gary. Did you get to go on any of the road trips to nearby places? Los Angeles, the Grand Canyon, etc. Well, as you saw, Gary, in part 2, I managed to go to Rachel, Nevada. And Gary says, P.S. Very impressed that you flew in those little first-class cubicles, mate. Nothing like flying in style. Oh, it's another world, mate. It's another world. And it's only because I was with somebody. I mean, it's because not only did I get to go club class in Club World, but it was much cheaper than it would have been otherwise too. So yeah, it's another world there, mate. And I'll tell you what, it's a shame I can't make it a regular thing. But unless I win the lottery, I won't be able to. And same video, Jam Noise says, hey bro, can't wait to watch this. Good to have you back. Thanks, Jackie. Much appreciated, soul sister. Same video, user VL says, fantastic, Ben in Vegas. Fantastic, Ben in Vegas, gonna watch this later on. Thanks, user. Doppelgar says on the same video, fantastic stuff, glad you finally got to America. Thanks very much, Doppelgar. I hope to go back. In fact, there was another video coming up. Another video. Well, maybe it will be another video, because there's a conference coming up in the summer called Contact in the Desert. You may have heard of it. It's quite well known. It's much more UFO conspiratorial orientated than Stairway. Although I like Stairway. I mean, Stairway is more like Glastonbury Symposium. Contact in the Desert is more like kind of like probe or exopolitics conference and things like that. Or AV or something like that. And I've just had a look at the prices. And I've drawn up a little basic budget, and I can afford to go. If I start saving now, I will be able to afford to go to that. And so I may well go to Contact in the Desert. In which case there will be another reportage just like this one. Ian Gosling says, interesting commentary, Ben. Artificiality seems to be the theme, but I'm enjoying watching the ventures unfold. Thank you. You're very welcome, Ian. And yeah, I was actually talking to someone on Facebook just now, someone who went to Las Vegas about 20 years ago. And she actually makes similar observations to me. Things tend to be all plastic and illusionary, you know. Pardon me. Gary Robinson says, I know what you mean about the unsettling energy in Las Vegas. I've been there twice. First 20 years ago when I met my wife, and secondly around 10 years ago when we went back for a weekend trip. I've never bet any money in Las Vegas, and I never would, as it's a mug's game. As they say in the movie Casino, the more they play, the more we win. In the end, we get it all. Of course, I mean, no gambling has negative dividend in the end of the day, does it? My approach to visiting Las Vegas has always been to stand on the outside looking in, if that makes any sense. First, you can't trust anyone you meet. The lady in the hotel that saw your t-shirt, for example, and claimed to have seen a UFO, she most likely made this up, as the vast majority of people working in casinos are very skilled at engaging with people by finding a hook, with the purpose of taking that person's money via either encountering them to buy more beers in a restaurant to give them a bigger tip, or to make them lose money on bets. It's one giant shakedown. Oh my God. I never thought about that, Gary. She seemed, well... She just came up and started talking to us, and we didn't give her any money or anything. I mean, I actually left after the first round, but I don't know if the others were talking to her more and gave her some tips. I don't know. Gary continues, that being said, it's still a great place to visit so long as you keep your wits about you. I also enjoy the insane amount of walking. I forgot to mention, you should have visited a club called the Ghost Bar, which is in the Palms Hotel, assuming it's still there. I seem to remember that it is the highest point in Las Vegas, and you're essentially on a platform overlooking the city and the desert. It even has a glass floor. I don't think I've ever been on anything quite as high up as that. I actually met my wife there in 2001. She was there for the weekend with a friend of hers. We met a lot of dark people that night, though. Most of my mates were propositioned by rich guys who offered them money to go with their wives. Another one of my mates met a young girl who was there with a guy that was essentially pimping her to adult video production companies. Quite shocking. I'm glad you made it there, Ben, and you had a great time. Pride and dignity, brother. Pride and dignity, Gary. That's actually shocking. It's shocking that someone would, try to prostitute their own wives. I mean, God grief, that's unbelievable. It reminds me of House of Cards. You remember in House of Cards, all the ministers are like they have wives and they try to prostitute them to people they think are useful. Oh yeah, but the thing about people trying to get money out of you, yeah, I noticed that pretty early on. I mean, there was several times when people on the street were trying to get money out of us. The people taking the photo, like I said, the people who took the photo of me, the people in the costumes, they said, "Oh, can't you give us $20?" I said, "Well," I made an excuse and said I can only spare $3, which I think is a fair price for a bloody tourist photo, that's all it is essentially. And they did send it to me. I just didn't want it particularly. But I will if I go back there. Obviously, I'll bear that in mind. I did actually play a bit of 5-card turnover, as I explained. But I thought, what the hell, I might as well give it a go. Jam Noise says hello, and Gary Robinson says, "Hey Jackie, how you doing, guys?" Same video. Jam Noise. The drop-off charge is fucking ridiculous. It's the same at Luton Airport. Why do we put up with this shite? I know. £5 just to literally stop your car and let a few people out and unload some suitcases from the bloody boot. Oh. Jam Noise says, "I'm getting so excited watching this. I'll be there soon." Whoop whoop. That's right. You're going off to Arizona again. Let me know if anything else strange, like you find any more crystals and things like that. I mean, what happened last time? Gary says, "Ben, mate, you're obviously very susceptible to the energy that different places give off, and I'm the same. Weather is literally vibrational energy generated as a result of what's happening in a specific place, or whether it's because you're able to see through the BS. It's the same result. I feel exactly the same about New York City. I can't stand it there. Not the place itself, but the fact that it's so tourist-focused and everyone is rude and trying to shake you down. I will never go back there again, that's for sure. Either way, you'll be glad you went to Las Vegas to see it for yourself, and I'm sure you'll have some good memories of the trip." Thanks, mate. Yeah, I've got no regrets. It's an experience to go somewhere I've never been before. And I'm glad I went there. And of course, I think if I hadn't been for the conference, I'd have thought, well, I would have probably said to myself at some point, I spent all this money going to this place. There's other places I could go to in the United States, which I'm sure I would prefer. But I went there essentially for the conference, and I got to the conference. I got to go to the Area 51 area. Oh, that was fantastic. That was the highlight. That was the showcase of the whole thing. Yeah. So no regrets, none at all. I'm very grateful to the people who helped make this happen. As you know, it was a budget trip. Because basically of the people I was with, someone managed to get me in as Johnny Enoch's guest, which means I didn't have to pay for a ticket, and also I didn't have to pay for a ticket for the conference. And of course, to be fair, I've given them a lot of publicity in return, haven't I? But also, of course, the flight as well, the cheap flight, and in the Club World seats. Yep. So I'm very grateful to that person too. I'm very grateful to Johnny. I never got the chance to say thank you formally to Johnny Enoch. So if Johnny, if you're watching, I'm very grateful for that. I really, really am. Kevin Michael Green said on Meadows One, "Hey Ben, good to see you got to the conference. I'm with you on the Las Vegas nightlife thing. It puts me in mind of an excellent lyrics about Brooklyn Girls by Tom Waits and his song Downtown Train. From his song Downtown Train, it goes like this: The downtown trains are full of them, Brooklyn girls. They try so hard to break out of their little worlds. You wave your hand and they scatter like crows. They have nothing that'll ever capture your heart. They're just thorns without a rose. Without the rose, be careful of them in the dark." Yeah, good lyrics. Yeah, I mean, as Gary said, you know, I am susceptible to energy. I can pick it up. You remember in Glastonbury there was a particular energy which I picked up, and it affected me very much. Same thing with Vegas, exactly the same. And Jam Noise says here at 50:08, I know what you mean here, bro. Something odd happens with time when you fly. So there's a timestamp here.
Where I arrived, it doesn't feel like I've travelled as far as I have.
Yeah.
And I got the same feeling when I went to Australia.
Yep, that's right. Airline travel is just it's almost like teleporting. You just get on a plane, and then like it seems like almost the next moment you're on the other side of the world. And this is what they mean when they say air travel shrinks the world. It does, and in a way, it shrinks people. I mean, ideally, what I'd like to do is get on the Queen Mary 2 and like go across to New York. It's like 10 days on a ship across the sea, and then get a train across America, enjoying the superb natural beauty. I mean, that's the ideal way to get there, or do the Route 66 on a Harley Davidson and things like that. But you know, if I'd done that, I wouldn't. By the time I got there, the conference would be over. Dark Corner says, I had exactly the same experience when I flew to Spain. The only way I can describe it is like being in a video game loading screen. It's all like once you enter the plan of the simulation stops, and when you get out the other end, it begins again. A very strange feeling indeed. Yeah, I understand. I understand that exactly, Dark Corners. That's a very good descriptive metaphor you used there. Gary says here, I'm glad you made a point of doing it alone, doing the things you wanted to do, mate. I don't know what it is, but whenever you're out with your mates and then there's three of you, for some reason one person always gets sidelined. Go out with four mates and everything's cool. I'm not into drinking all day long, mate, and would have done what you did in order to make the most of it. Cheers. Thanks, Gary. Oh, in no way did, obviously, like, it may be something that just happens. In no way did Colin and Mark ever try to make me feel left out. They never tried to turn me away. I think it was just an inevitable effect of my wanting something different out of this experience than they did. Yeah, definitely. As I said, Mark was the real party animal of the three of us, and Colin could keep up with him, and this is good. And Gary says, P.S. I also often get sick when I travel. Nothing wrong with having one day for downtime. Yeah, that was, I mean, it was, I don't think it was food poisoning, I think it was a virus. And of course, when we go across the world like that, so we're suddenly exposed to all kinds of bacteria and viruses that, you know, a few hours ago we weren't experiencing, you know. Hugo says, thanks for the mention, Ben. No probs. This is on reply to comments 83. That's three comments reply videos ago. You're welcome, Hugo. Now we have Meadows Part 2. InsureTech says, last. And Lurvish says, last. Everyone say, and Retro Darren says, latest. And Dark Corner says, congratulations. The bronze hat goes to you. Part 1 of 2, Diego Rivera. You must be happy to be back in the UK. Las Vegas looks like a soulless place. It is, Gary. Is Diego Rivera? Yes, it is a bit soulless. And Dark Corner says I couldn't agree more. I don't think I would enjoy much of it at all. Yes, it is quite soulless. I mean, obviously, when the conference started, that changed immediately. But the first 5 days I was there, you know, Sunday to Thursday was kind of, is that 5 days? Yes, 5 days more, including the journey. For 4 days, you know, the Monday to the Thursday was. I was sort of counting down the days to when the conference started a bit. It didn't suit me, even though I had some good times and it was fun to see somewhere new. But yeah, and I was happy to get back once the conference ended. Two of Meadows 2. Ben's Borat, Cultural Learnings of America, says Jacob Rivera Borat. Long live Kazakhstan. And Gary says, great that you got to meet your mate Steve Bassett, and it was cool he did a mini on-camera interview. Yes, I really was so hoping that he would. I was so hoping he would be there, and hoping like he wouldn't pull out. I know he was ill, and it was so good, man, that he made it. I'm so glad he recovered in time. Thank goodness. Meadows Part 2. Gary says, Richard Dolan, if I remember right, you owe him a little bit of a. And I said, for legal reasons, I shall not answer. John Nolan says, Nick Pope first, Ben. Gary says to John, I know I shouldn't, but I'm pissing myself laughing at this comment. Actually, Nick Pope is a pretty decent bloke. I met him in Del Rio, Texas around 8 years ago. I wasn't impressed with his talk, though. It was the same one he used to do all the time. Alright, funny enough, Gary, I found this talk he did, and he had an hour and 3/4 on stage. I found it an awful lot better than the one he did in Manchester at Awakening. A decent bloke, I find him deceptive and two-faced. And I don't trust him. But, you know, you have to accept the guy as you take him, not how others tell you he is. And John Nolan says to Gary, he may be a good bloke, but never has anything new to say. Stay and sits on the fence. Yeah, I mean, as I said, he seems to be the kind of person who can run with the fox and chase with the hounds, which is a feature of people who are very good at it. Supposing he was on a job, basically infiltrating the community, he would be that kind of person. Richard Doty was like that. Yeah. I replied to comments 83. Hugo for short is fine. Oh, right. You say I sound aristocratic. No way. I do regret changing my name now. Well, you know, your full name is rather aristocratic. I can't even remember what it is, but it is a bit, yeah. Meadows 2. Wayne Model Builder. Oh my god, I'm so jealous. You actually went to Area 51. That's on my ever-increasing bucket list of things I never seem to be able to do. Oh, man. Well, Wayne, you know, you can get there. It's you know, you could afford. I mean, most people could probably afford a trip there with a little bit of saving. I mean, it's generally. I think the rule is generally £1,500, a third each for the flight, for the accommodation, for spending. You could go for a shorter time. That's obviously adjustable. Same with flights. You can get cheaper flights and more expensive flights depending where you shop around. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think I'd actually get there. I mean, as you know, it was a bit of a struggle actually getting on the coach, but I did get there eventually. But yeah, do it. Don't wait. Do it, mate. And you can, you know, save up the money and go. I mean, for the amount of money it will cost just to get you there for a few days, enough time to do the whole Area 51 thing. It's about the same amount of money that would cost, for example, to get maybe a new gutter put on your house, or a paint job done on the landing and the hallway and things like that. You know. To everyone, thanks all, says Hugo Rune on reply to comments 83. 2 of 2. Keith Smith, quote, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. It's Steelers wheels stuck in the middle with you. Yeah, great song, that. Did you hear it playing? I don't know. Hugo Rune. Sorry, what is stoned? Honestly, I take what you say on board. I'll not be posting. Hugo, you say that every time and you carry on posting. I don't mean any offence. You know what stoned means. As I said, it's what you do every time you comment on my video. That's what you are. What is stoned? Honestly, I'll take what you say on board. All right, I'll not be posting. All right, you repeated that. I think that might have been like a spam folded comment. Sorry, but I don't see how my being stoned is obvious in my post. Last post, says Hugo, before posting a dozen more. Oh, well, goodness me. Hugo, for goodness sake. You yourself say you have 20 spliffs in your tin whenever you put me on. How are you going to be anything other than stoned? Gary says, Ben, mate, please tell me you took that nice lady up on her offer for the remote viewing class. She was obviously into you. I think she's got a husband, I think. I did talk to her privately. She talked about her family. But yeah, I mean, I haven't yet, but I have actually emailed her and just to tell her about the video. So I will actually talk about that with her. Yeah. Gary continues. While we're on the subject of meeting people at conferences, I reckon you need a definitive game plan in terms of network dialoguing with people at these events, so you're able to make valuable contacts. Before you engage, you should have a definitive plan that you can apply to every conversation. You need to know what these people do so you can evaluate how they could help you, and you need to inform them of what you do so they know who you're dealing with. In the case of this lady, for example, she's a producer, so she could possibly book you as a guest, and she could help you secure guests for her HPANWO. You had her on the hook with a charm offensive. If only you had gone in with a plan, you could have made a meaningful contact there, I reckon. Man, it's a tough job being your marketing manager. Where are we with the Insta and TikTok of shorts? Pride and Dignity, brother. Well, I do. If you may have noticed, I did upload a TikTok short, Gary. But as for definitive plans, I mean, and things like that, I actually do. I have actually emailed her, so I'm now in conversation with her. Same with that lady Sheila. I just wanted to let her know she's in the video, so maybe we can have a conversation there. Yeah. Meadows 1. Mr. Jason Sean said, "Glad you had a good time, Ben." Thanks, Jason Sean. Glad I did. I'm really appreciate that. I did. Gary said, "I'm glad you made the effort to take the coach, Ben, and I can't understand why your mates didn't want to." When you drive, because it's easier and more relaxed in the USA. Plus, with Google Maps, you can't get lost. Car rental is cheap in the USA. I'm not a particularly confident driver, but I have driven extensively in Las Vegas, Hollywood, and Los Angeles in general, which is a really insane place to drive around compared to Las Vegas. I've also driven from Los Angeles to Vegas and back, not to mention all over Mexico and Texas. My point being is it would have been easy for you guys, so I'm not sure why they were too nervous to drive out there. Oh, well, Gary, not having driven for like 25 years, I'm not quite. I don't think I'm qualified to criticise in the way you are. But anyway, Blue Colin here, Blue Wool, says here. Colin Blue Wool says, "I've driven out there before to San Diego and Vegas, but the hassle of doing it on a Saturday night and later hearing about the 4-hour journey made me feel like we dodged a bullet, even if we got free access to the coach. Also, there were talks going on in the evening, so a no-brainer. I hope they learn from their mistakes in the future and include the gala as part of the ticket, like UFO Megacon and other. £280 for an award ceremony smacks of elitism. Also, Vegas on a Saturday night, you've got to have a few beers, haven't you?" Yeah, Colin, I think the reason it was 4 hours was basically because, as I explained, the driver insisted on going at 20 miles an hour. And maybe he was a Welsh driver. And he also got lost. Both coaches got lost and had to basically be guided by the passengers. They had to navigate for him. I mean, yeah, something they will learn from their mistakes, I'm sure. And one of the things they will probably not use that coach company again. Yeah. And Blue Wool says here. I mean, this is a comment here he made here. On 2 of 2. I have spoken privately to Colin about this, and I did assure him I was not actually having a go at him. And so just to clarify, Mark and I had done the Area 51 tour back in January in daylight, hence not going again this time. I remember, Colin, I remember the photos, yeah. We thought we might have got free access on this trip, but sadly no. I kind of expected not to, as it was a similar price for this conference and limited seats. To visit Area 51 via TripAdvisor costs about £180, but it's well worth doing it, especially if you get a good guide like we have. If you get a chance to do this daylight tour, you get to see other things, like the Janet planes and the actual gates and camo dudes. It was bloody cold in January, so I can see why it would be just as bad, if not worse, at night in November. I'd also had personally done the Atomic Testing Museum tour at least twice in the past, including when they had the Area 51 exhibition, so I wasn't about to go again. But anyway, Ben, thanks for your reportage. I look forward to seeing you on future adventures. You too, Colin. In fact, we might have one next month, in a couple of weeks. Say more at the time. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mention the fact that you had been to the Atomic Testing Museum before. But I mean, again, this is just something I wanted to do, and I thought it was better just to let you guys do your own thing, and I could do mine. We could meet up later. And one thing I do regret actually is that the Area 51 exhibition was gone when I got there. I did ask the lady at the reception. I said, "What happened to it?" She said, "Oh, it finished a few months ago." And this was Annie Jacobson who curated this exhibition and to accompany her book. Of course, she appears in that documentary that is on, which you actually see in the video in part one of 2 of Meadows, but only on Alt-Tech, not on YouTube. And David Splendid Isolation says, "Jaywalking, Ben, you're a rebel." Oh, right, that was when I was. Yeah, there's a timestamp here. This is when I was crossing the. Yes, something. Oh, the road. I had crossed the road. Crafty Nihilist said on part 1 of 2. Sorry, Ben. Mark beat you to the first person not to place a bet in Las Vegas. All right. That's Liz's mark, not the Mark who's with us. Can't think of a worse place to visit. Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, it's weird, but the lady I was talking to on Facebook about this, who'd been there 20 years ago, she called it Sodom and Gomorrah as well. Yeah. Okay, Meadows part 2, and we jam those. We have a timestamp for that. Let's have a look. Oh, that's when I get on the coach, yeah. And she says, "Yes, well done, bro." Yeah, I expect a few people were cheering when they saw that I had actually got onto the coach, yeah. Meadows part 2. Did you encounter any fannies out there? I encountered lots of them, I'll tell you, all over the place. But yeah, FANI, did I encounter any? Unfortunately not. I mean, we did try to bring them down when we were at the campfire with Jimmy and James Fox. We were trying to bring down the fannies, but they didn't want to come down. Maybe because they just laughing their heads off at the nickname that they've been given by the Spanish speakers. User says, "Did you get to Area 55? Sorry, 51. Even Britney Spears." I did. Well, as you can see in part, if you watch part 2, user, you'll see that I did. Yes, 2 of 2. David Smith says, "Great to see you getting out to some of the places you've always wanted to visit and experience much further away. Pretty inspirational. How do you get the fancy airplane seats? Are they super expensive?" Right, well, David, later on in the video, I explain exactly how I got them. It's nothing sinister. I didn't have to pay for them. MI5 didn't pay for me. It's because I was travelling with somebody who works for an airline. I won't say who they are because I don't want them to get into trouble. But yeah, if you know somebody who works for an airline, just try and do the same. Just say, "You're going on holiday. Can I come with you?" Because they will get the discount. They'll get a very cheap flight, cheaper than any you're ever going to get at all. I mean, I paid a third of what I'd normally pay for that flight, even in economy. Secondly, you'll probably get if the seats are available, you'll get into the first class. Yeah. Hugo Roon says, "Until recently, I was growing my own." Who's Niall Murphy? Oh, no, you've seen him, and you may have seen him in a couple of my videos. He certainly appeared on HPANWO Radio a lot. He's a guy who runs something called a YouTube channel called Through an Opaque Lens. Please do check that channel out. "Of course water is better, but I like my 6 cans a day." Lol, yes, you guessed me correct, foreign places. And he says, "Yes, I care nothing for race, creed or colour. You are a beautiful lady and I like you." Oh, hang on, this is a timestamp here. What's this? He's not talking to me. You're not left-leaning. I don't care what colour skin of my future generations of the UK have. I don't care if they're all white or if they all look like Jam Noise. Do you care about that? I don't care if it's the case. Oh, right, that's actually somebody else. I'm actually quoting someone there. Yeah, "I care nothing for race, creed, or colour. You are a beautiful lady, and I like you." I think you're talking to Jam Noise, aren't you? And I know you got a bit of a Hugo. I know you've taken a bit of a shine to her, haven't you? Yeah. "Si, come and look at my photos, my memories of beautiful ladies around the world. My girlfriends from my past in many countries. I love them all." And you know, the Japanese lady. I know you talked a lot about the Japanese lady. I think she was special, wasn't she? "Ooh, Jam Noise, I may no longer be able, but I would love to meet you." Well, all right. Because, but Hugo, you can... are you really stuck? Are you really completely stuck at home? Are you really that bad? Okay. Oh, he says here, "Please do not worry about me. I am housebound, so will not be able to attend." Oh, I was inviting you, wasn't I, to something? I remember, Hugo, yeah. "But I thank you immensely for the thought. I will watch as usual. I love you all, especially Jam Noise. I have fantastic memories of my working years, especially Thailand and Hawaii. The best weed in the world." It sounds like this is like The Beach. Have you ever read that book, The Beach? About a chap who goes on holiday and finds like an idyllic colony in some remote island off the coast of Thailand. Yeah. They have these big fields of marijuana growing everywhere, yeah. Okay, I've been toking throughout this show. One spliff lasts a long time. You see, I told you, Hugo, didn't I? What about my above post suggests I'm stoned? Please define stoned. Do you mean like Cheech and Chong, hey man? Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, I'm baffled, but I thank you and Jam Noise, all here. You just sound like, I can tell by the way you sound like that, yeah. John Nolan, did you meet any Germans over there, Ben? No, I didn't. I mean, if I had, then Michael Shrimpton would have already gone over there to check it out. I didn't meet any Germans. No, I met some Irish, a couple of French people. I didn't meet them, but I sort of saw them. Reply to comments 84. Legal but harmful alcohol. Illegal but still beneficial cannabis. I know. What was it? Bill Hicks said, yeah, those nice taxable drugs. You know, this bud's for you. Damn hypocrite. 2 of 2, 153.30. Let's have a look.
So, do you
Sheila.
or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a
Oh, that's my interview with Sheila, yes. You have pulled so many times so far, bro. The US girls love you. It's your natural charm and the accent. Very proud of you, soul brother. Thank you, Jam Noise. I mean, she actually was rather flirty, that lady. And she is actually quite attractive, so I was quite pleased. And yeah, this is the same lady. She's adorable. I go with her flow. Yeah, she's very Glastonbury-like. But, you know, I mean, I don't mind that. I mean, she had a wonderful energy to her. She really did. comments 84 Hugo Rune says here, the part tunnel, part bridge. Hugo, are you seriously telling me you're not stoned? Honestly, Ben, you do this sort of thing so often. I smile every time, while in my mind I'm saying, go on, Ben, you can't finish it. Big smile here. Meadows Part 2, Home Sweet Home at the end. Yeah, Diego Rivera, I was very... You know, a lot of people go home and they think, damn, it's the end of my holiday, back to normal life. I didn't feel like that at all. I was actually very... I was very relieved to get home. It was very nice to come home. Timestamp here, Jam Noise 72. Bravo, she says.
And I replied to him, no, I'm not going to leave it. I said, stop telling me.
Yes. Thanks very much, Jam Noise. Yes, that was my badass Ben moment there. I knew you'd be proud of me. Part 1 of 2. Ramsey's Scottish, despite growing up in England. Oh, right. Gordon Ramsay, I mean. All right, was he? I didn't know that. He's a... Anyway, Scottish, English, Welsh, Irish, I don't give a damn. He's a twat. He's a dickhead. I mean, all right. I mean, I know a lot of it's an act. But when he does that thing with the bread, what are you? An idiot sandwich? You know, that... It just sounds... I know they're obviously acting, but it just sounds horrible. He's being... It's like... He's bullying this student of his in the kitchen, in Hell's Kitchen, yeah. 2 of 2. Insure Text says, thanks, Ben. Interesting trip. Did you have that T-shirt on all week? Yes, I did. I mean, I did wash it in the bath. As I actually explained in the video what I did with it. I did wash it in the bath with some soap. The reason was that the bag with the rest of my clothes ended up at the lost property in Oxford at the bus company. Again, I explain in part 1 what happened there. Meadows 2. Ben mate, says Gary Robinson. The only reason most of these elite UFO speakers get to be on stage at big conferences like this is entirely down to the fact that they know how to market themselves. You have a lot more to say than most of these people, especially since the majority of them do the same talk over and over. We need to work out a definitive plan of attack for you with a very clear end goal. Within a year or two, you could easily be on the bill at one of these events. Cheers. Well, thanks, Gary. I mean, you know what? I appreciate any advice you could give me. I mean, I'm in touch with, like I said, those 2 ladies I spoke to. I'm in touch with them. But you know what, Gary? This is often the case. You know, you get like a person. I made this point to Michelle, actually, the lady I spoke to at the Jimmy Church's producer. Very often, you get people like who are sort of flamboyant, public faces who do speeches and stuff like that. And they're often some of the worst organisers in the entire world. And I'm one of them. I mean, I did organise a conference. I organised 2 conferences. It worked, but it wasn't ideal. I mean, I couldn't pay everyone, which I still feel guilty about. Things like that. And, you know, very often this entire community has a whole it has a whole militia of people who do all the organising work, but they're people who publish nothing. They don't do talks, they don't write books, they don't do radio shows, they just work behind the scenes, just making the cogs run, making the engines go and things like that. And Michel's one of those people. So yeah, I mean, so if I can, any one of those people who could help me, including yourself, I'm very welcome for any advice. 2 of 2. Screaming LG, that's a good name. Screaming LG says, I'm glad you got to Area 51, Ben. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'd like to go back in daylight. I think that's a time I'd like to go back. Right, we have Gary again. Now, I knew Gary would want to talk about this on Meadows, part 2 of 2. Hey, Ben, in regards to the Ewoks being based on the Pukwudgie, I'm not sure this is the case. The battle at the end of Return of the Jedi was originally meant to take place on the Wookiees' home planet of Kashyyyk. I remember they were originally supposed to be little Wookiees, weren't they? The idea being that the viewers would get to see where Chewbacca came from, and it made sense that the Wookiees were physically powerful and would stand a pretty good chance of defeating the Empire. The decision was made to swap out the Wookiees with small creatures that could be made into toys. Ah, yes, the Ewok teddy bears, yeah. So the concept behind the Ewoks goes no deeper than the desire to sell more merchandise, yeah, of course. The task of designing the Ewoks went to Phil Tippett, the famous creature designer and stop-motion animator. Yeah, he actually commented on, I think he commented on the Alien Autopsy video, the Alien interview. And also, John Johnston, the movie director who, in his youth, was the lead designer on the original Star Wars trilogy, along with Ralph McQuarrie. The idea was that the Ewoks were cannibals, and so the first design concept was small human-like creatures with sharp teeth. After a number of different concepts, they settled on the idea of small bears, as they felt these would make great toys. Cheers. Hashtag cute Chewbacca, hashtag Indiana. Yeah, I think little human-like creatures with sharp teeth wouldn't be very cuddly, and they wouldn't look very good in little babies' cots, would they? That makes a lot of sense, actually. It does, yeah. 2 of 2, Gary Robinson. I just finished watching both your Las Vegas uploads, Ben, mate, and I enjoyed them. I'm glad you didn't feel pressured to go out boozing with Colin and Mark every night, and that you did your own thing and made it work. Endless drinking and strip clubs is not everyone's style. It's not mine, for example. Me and Jackie were a little stressed for you when we saw the first video where you were feeling unwell and stuck in the hotel. And so I was really excited for you that you made it to Rachel. What an adventure, eh? Pride and dignity, brother. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, I am. I'm glad you sort of followed me along with it like that. Dark Corner said, so you managed to make it to Area 51. A dream come true. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. You're welcome, Dark Corners. I hope to go back there in daylight. Angel Kenyon gives me the 2 biceps and says, Ben, thanks, Angel Kenyon. And Insert Pie Now, says, good name, says, thanks for sharing your trip, Ben. Appreciate it. You're very welcome, Insert Pie Now. John Nolan says, you've put me off going to Vegas, Ben. Oh my goodness me. I'm going to be sued by the Las Vegas Tourist Board now. Tessa111 says on 1 of 2. Best crepes were at Paris, lunch area. Oh, look, Tessa, the best food of any kind in the world is going to be in Paris, isn't it? Dark Corner says, Ben, the Talking Mongoose movie with Simon Pegg is now available on Amazon Prime. Might be worth a watch party or review in the future. From last thing I heard, Dark Corners, it wasn't available on UK Amazon. Richard Freeman has managed to watch it somewhere. He managed to gain it from some place somewhere. I'll ask his advice about this, but you know, it's he wasn't very impressed with it. But you're right, it does require a review, and yeah, definitely. So if it's available on UK Amazon, I'll check it out. The Apollo Detectives, the original one. That's the first ever. S. Brayman says, brilliant. Thanks, S. Brayman. Meadows 2. Glad you enjoyed Rachel, says Tessa111. I've been during the day and had... Oh, I'd love to go during the... Oh, I'd love to go during the day one day, Tessa. Thanks. And had only family and 2 others there, so I could see all their displays. Had a plane shake at the little alien. Scary, away from Area 51, I presume. They seem to know I love sci-fi. Been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt too. Nice one, Tessa. My nose is itching again. I will be back. I will go back there one day. I've decided, actually, I'm going to send them a book. I mean, my original plan was to take a copy of Roswell Rising and put it on their shelf. in there. Not to sell, just for people to read. Couldn't do that. What I'll do is I'll send them a thank you letter and include a book with it. Trevor Murray, Pioneer Spirit, Port's Pride and Dignity, brother. I hope to land in Heathrow, I hope one day to land in Heathrow, my friend. I hope you will too, Trevor. I'd love to meet you. I've never met you before, face to face. Jack Burns, 2 of 2. The footage of your visit to the vicinity of Area 51 was great. It gave off the opposite feeling to the artificiality of Las Vegas. Glad you resisted the siren call of Sin City, Ben, and stuck to who you are and what you like doing. Oh, thanks very much. I'm not a huge fan of cars, etc., but I think you could clip that drive past of all those vintage and special motor vehicles. It's an excellent moment in time. I paused at that point in the vid, so got another 2 hours remaining. Good stuff. Thanks, Jack. And you know what? I was quite lucky to get that, because they were driving past quite a few for about 5 minutes. If I'd gone 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes later, I wouldn't have seen all those old classic cars. Donna Wellham says, have a great time, Ben. I've been busy. This is on 2 of 2, so not been online much. Thanks, Donna. Much appreciated. Donna says here, you made me giggle when you said you're trying to do a video and those announcements were going off. Yeah, thanks. Donna, you could ring up the coach company and explain you left your bag behind. I did. Well, I didn't ring them up. I actually went to the help desk at the Heathrow Airport bus terminal. At the station there, where there's like a help desk. Now, Oxford Bus Company don't have their own desk there, but there was a help desk. I also went out and spoke to the driver, and he said he took my name and address and email and number, and said that I could get my bag returned. Don also says here, don't stress, Ben, you're there for the conference, just enjoy your time away, at least with your friends Colin and Mark. Yeah, I mean, Colin and Mark and I got on very well during the time that we were there. And I think probably because we were very easygoing with each other that we didn't clash, which is really, really great. 10:41 popcorn boxing. It's like this is on 1 of 2 timestamp here.
Restart them. I managed to like get one of them to work with the new audio.
Oh right, the audio player. Yeah, right. Popcorn boxing says chaotic start to your holiday travels. Hope this is not a forerunner to a bad holiday. Luckily, it wasn't popcorn boxing. But yeah, it was a bit weird the night before. Suddenly, all 3 of my audio recorders failed. I think it was something to do with the files I was trying to put on them, because I was trying to put some of my old UFO shows on them. Maybe the files are corrupted in some way. Because I put my usual audio on them for work, and they're working fine. Popcorn also says, I had not got to the bit where you lost your bag. Oh dear. Yeah. Well, luckily it was. I mean, there's no way I was going to put like essential stuff in the luggage bag, in the luggage bay bag. All the essential things I needed were in the carry-on bag. So just because of that, you should always keep your essentials on you in your hand luggage. Don't risk put them in the bloody checked luggage, because you never know, you could lose them. So it wasn't the end of the world. I managed to wash my clothes when I was over there, and that was really the only impediment. Snarnock said on 1 of 2, I enjoyed the first part, Ben. It was worth the wait until the day of the conference. You were in your element. Yeah. I was a pig in shit, as Gareth said. It was worth the wait. Snarnock says, in America, the VAT is added onto the price at the checkout or till. Those plug sockets over there are bizarre. They have no earth pin or on-off switch. You might have felt ill from the food containing GMOs, glyphosate, and other additives in American foods that are banned in other countries. Look forward to part 2. Thanks, mate. I hope you enjoyed part 2. It's the plugs. Yeah, it's surprising in a country that prides itself on being at the cutting edge of every technological advancement. But American plug sockets are actually rather old-fashioned, surprisingly old-fashioned. A lot of things are. Apparently the railway network is a bit antiquated as well. Yeah. Part 2 of 2. Ralph Winter. Nice one, Ben. Good vid. Thanks, mate. Thank you. West Londoner says on 1 of 2. Arriving back at Gatwick Airport, they asked me, do you have anything to declare? I replied, yes. Do not go to Las Vegas. Neil says, the peacocking lady was interesting. When's the London event? I'm not sure yet. They're trying to organise it. But she was lovely. She was very, very likeable. And she was quite, as I said, she was quite. I found her quite attractive, and she was flirty. And so I had a long conversation with her, yeah. 1 of 2, Meadows. Popcorn Boxing says on Meadows, 1 of 2. Sorry you're having having a bad time, bad energy of the place. Yeah, it wasn't a bad time as such. I did kind of, I just seemed to, I was a bit not very well for a while. Again, I said I found that I didn't quite fit in. Not that I had any regrets about it or anything like that, but it just wasn't my scene until the conference started. Oh, right, there, one of two. What did the cleaner say when she came in? How did she get in? Oh, right. Well, I did not put the do not disturb sign up. She apologised and just walked out again. Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't in a state of undress. Frog Scotch 420 says, I thought Dolan was everybody's favourite. Glad you're feeling better, Ben. Dry lips can be a sign of dehydration, and sometimes even the change in the water can affect us Brits. Was the bus journey worth it? All right. There's several points here, Frog Scotch. Dolan was everyone's favourite. Well, in terms of his contribution to the scene, I can't fault him. I can't fault him at all. I'm nearly at the end of hour number 3 now. I'm not using the countdown timer. I find I don't need it so much. As far as his contribution to the scene, you can't fault him. You really can't. But you know, maybe not everyone who respects him or admires him has actually spent any time socialising with him. A lot of them won't have done that unless you've been to various conferences and made the effort to go and meet them. And maybe not everyone else would have liked them if that was. Maybe other people would have felt the same way I did about him. I'm glad. Thanks, mate. I was glad I was better for the conference, definitely. As for dehydration, I found I was thirsty the whole time I was there. I was constantly sipping water, and I think the cause of that may well have been the low humidity, which I'm not used to. Was the bus journey worth it? The one to Area 51? Yes, absolutely worth every penny and every hour. Yeah. So thanks, Frog Scotch. Meadows 2. Big Ben is back in Oxford, says UAPS. I absolutely love this reportage. Strange incident and shit too. Maybe it was your nervous energy that caused them MP3s to glitch. Could be. I find that I do have an effect like that on electronics. Could be the reason why the coach doors were malfunctioning as well. Oh, God. Maybe I'm my own walking Mercury retrograde. Dodgy AI in vehicles is a bad idea. By the way, I wish you'd kept that memory stick that man gave you. You could have posted it to me, and I would have inserted it into my laptop. Well, you know, I was concerned it may contain something like malware or something. And finally, that's so interesting. We got right to the end of hour 3, and I've got right to the top of my YouTube comments. Jackdaw says here, really enjoyed these videos, Ben. Many thanks for these. I'm off to watch the great Steve Mera tomorrow night, Monday the 20th, speaking at Project Doorway in Lytham St Anne's. All right, Lytham St Anne's, one of my favourite places in the world. Steve Mera's there. What's Project Doorway? Oh, I don't know that. I know New Horizons, Probe, Lapis. I didn't know about Project Doorway. Anyway, hope you enjoy it, Jackdaw. Right, that's the end of hour number 3. Back for hour number 4 very soon. Alright, welcome to hour number 4. I mean, it looks like I'm already through all the YouTube comments. And obviously, there will be some new ones which have been posted while I've been recording. But we're now on to old text, so it looks like this video is not going to be as long as I thought it was going to be, which is cool. But I don't want it to be too long, to be honest, because you know I feel a bit tired today. But anyway, let's get on to a BitChute. Let's have a look at my BitChute videos that have been up. Any comments that have been posted since Reply to Comments 85. As I said, there probably will be more than usual because of the length of time between since the last one. Okay, so we have here no comments on Reply to Comments 85. Okay. Cold Case Twitter voicemail. What's this? Alright, let's have a look. I have to click the tab to discuss the video. No comments. Okay. Halloween Vigil. Discuss the video. No comments. Oh, that's a surprise. Okay, Crazy Plane Lady. I'll have some on these. This is a very bit-shooty sort of subject. Let's have a look. Discuss the video. Here we go. Right, let me just click pause on that. Okay, so we have someone called Zortorbal OCI. This is a strange name. The idea of sitting beside Here we are. The idea of sitting beside somebody on a plane who is not real seems to be a reference to the movie Fight Club. It could be that the woman was having a kind of schizoid break and imagines she's living the life of the main character in the movie to make her life more interesting and deal with her problems. The person she was sitting beside may have attempted to play into this fantasy by confirming her suspicions and driving her to the course of action she took. Right, that's an interesting idea, Global OCI. I don't know how many of you have seen Fight Club. It's very good, well worth seeing. And I have to give you a spoiler to address this comment. The main character, played by Edward Norton, who's actually not named, he finds this guy called Tyler Durden. That's played by, what's his name? It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, Brad Pitt. He plays by Brad Pitt, and you think he's found a new friend, and this guy Tyler Durden is actually a very, very different kind of character himself. Very happy-go-lucky, very sort of like devil-may-care. Even at one point they're driving along, and he says, "I'm going to let go of the steering wheel just to see what happens," and things like that. And you find out later on that this character is actually, I was going to say he's a tulpa. He's not even a tulpa. He's not even real. He's actually a figment of the main character's imagination. A schizoid break, as you describe here, Zortorbal OCI. Now that's always possible. It would explain a lot about her behaviour. Although until we know more about her and what she experienced, we can't say for sure. The idea of some kind of mental illness, some kind of hysteria is, I think, quite likely. So I don't go along with the drink and drugs hypothesis, but some kind of hysteria is quite likely, yeah. Wormspleen. Hello, Wormspleen again. How you doing? Nice to see you again. Wormspleen says, was it Ellis Taylor who saw the reptilian on the plane? 30 minutes you could use the blog. Wow, how many years is it now that the bottle of Plonk has been sitting under your bed waiting to celebrate disclosure? Right. Was it Ellis Taylor who saw the reptilian on the plane? This was a private discussion with this person, so I won't confirm or deny whether it was Ellis or whether it was someone else. 30 minutes in till you could use the bog. Wow. Oh, was it? Oh, right. How many years has that bottle of Plonk been sitting under your bed? Well, it's not sitting under my bed anymore, Wormspleen, because it actually corked and it went all nasty and manky, so I had to throw it away. It actually wasn't Plonk. It was actually... Well, I can't expect it to last very long because it was cheap Perry. What I'll do, if we have disclosure, I'll just have to nip down the shop and get some Lambrini or something, or Asti Spumante or something like that. Finally, we have here Anton McNamara. Hey Anton, how you doing? As an anecdote, I seem to read 5 or 6 stories every year about someone kicking off on a plane and being removed, sometimes before the flight, like in this case, and sometimes mid-flight when the plane has to make an unscheduled landing. My impression is the other passengers are usually not made to disembark before the flight can resume. Right, yes, I hear that this does happen. I've heard a lot about this. And as I said, the cabin crew are trained health and safety and security experts. If the plane is in flight, they will handcuff you to your seat. They will literally do that because you are a danger to yourself and to the rest of everyone else on board the plane. And indeed, pilots will make emergency landings because of unruly behaviour among the passengers if it becomes too extreme. But whether whether the passengers are disembarked or not will depend on the schedule. It could be there may be many reasons why the plane was delayed as long as it was. If the plane's going to be delayed 3 hours, it's not fair to make people sit on the plane all that time. They said, get off and have a cup of coffee in the departure lounge and come back later. You see, it all depends on, I think, how quickly the plane can be put back on the runway. Anton continues. In this case, everyone was made to disembark back at the terminal. It's likely that the protocol was followed because Tiffany mentioned the plane blowing up. Assuming no explosives were found, bomb hoaxes are taken very seriously and usually lead to a prosecution, or at the very least being banned from flying. Right, could be another reason, Anton, why people were disembarked, because of what they thought was some kind of hoax, because she was predicting disaster for that plane. That could be the procedure. Now, banned from flying, she wasn't banned from flying. She was actually, as far as we know, she was not arrested or charged. when really you think she should be. She should at least be questioned. At least she should be taken in by the police and questioned. She was not banned from flying either. She was kept on the fly list and indeed was interviewed by the TMZ reporter at LAX a couple of months later. Anton continues. In this case, she's back in the air within days, no prosecution, no ban, tacit admission by the airline that she had some genuine reason to become agitated, and they know what it is. I agree, Anton, it's all very suspicious, isn't it? Very suspicious indeed. Maybe we'll find out more. As I said, I'm working on an update on this particular case, so it'll probably be a written one on the HPANWO voice blog, so keep an eye on that. Okay, Meadows 1. Discuss this video. Oh, I had one here. Oh, sweeps. Now, bear in mind, this video is 3 hours 26 minutes long. Apart from it's 3 hours 13 something minutes long on YouTube, because this is the intact version, which is not trimmed, because of the stupid bloody copyright thing. Sweeps says, Wild Child Ben went to Las Vegas without me. Oh my God. Sorry, Sweeps. I would have shoved you in my suitcase if I'd known. But then you'd have ended up in Oxford Lost Property for a week, wouldn't you? A 3 hour plus for part 1. Guess so as long as you're there, make the most of it, huh? Okay, we'll have to go and see Tucker Carlson's studio in Maine, USA then. Oh, I'd love to meet Tucker, Sweeps. He's cool. I like him. He's a very cool... He's one of the few reporters who actually talks about anything other than banal nonsense and propaganda. Right, Meadows 2. Discuss the video. No comments, right, okay. So that's... Well, I'll just now go through the old, I'll go through the list now, as always. There we go, so, scroll. Now this includes... Oops, scroll. These are all... there'll be a lot here, actually, because it's been like only a month since my last comments reply video, so bear with me, ladies and gents. I'm just scrolling through. This will let me know, actually, if I have any comments on maybe older videos. Also, other videos on other channels. Okay, down we go. Also, not videos, comments on other channels that I've made. So let's scroll down. Here we go. This will take a while, but I will get there for you. Yeah, BitChute has come on in leaps and bounds. Now, BitChute's moved, you know. It's actually in Andover. Its office is no longer in Newbury, Berkshire. It's moved to Andover in Hampshire. In my view, Ray should move it out of the country. Because BitChute is, I'm always getting like videos blocked saying this breaks the law, in terms of hate speech and stuff like this. And there's all kinds of censorships are done in Britain. As I've said, it's what the idea of like a free internet is an absolute goldmine for any country willing to be like to host the servers. I'm thinking specifically of some of the third world tigers, like the booming economies across the third world, such as Brazil, Nigeria, and parts of Southeast Asia, places like that. If they become the go-to place to host all the free internet areas, that will do wonders for their economy. Absolute wonders. Here we go. Right. Oh, this is Pioneer Spirit. Okay. Now that's on another video, but I was very, very sad that Trevor actually picked up a very nasty troll on his channel Pioneer Spirit on BitChute. Trevor was expressing an opinion on the whole situation with the war in Israel, and he was called horrible names by somebody. And I, as you'll be glad to know, I immediately took that person to task in my own reply. Okay, there's another one. So I'm not going to get into long debates with idiots, but I did defend Trevor. I stuck up for him for being a good guy, because he is. Here we go. I mean, these comments, these every time I sub to someone on BitChute, this list gets longer. But BitChute is just like an absolute godsend. I mean, Ray, it really is one of the bloody heroes in this. Right, sweeps. Alright, so this, I've got some comments on Sweep's videos. Really, I mean, he's one of the heroes of free speech. All he has to do is basically move BitChute's office out of the country. I mean, he himself lives in Thailand. I mean, why does he need to have it in Britain? I know he's British, but why does he need to have the office in Britain? If you watch one of my Secrets of Newbury videos, I actually do go and visit the offices of BitChute with another blonde. We can't get in there with another blonde. But funny enough, as we know, Newbury has a major place in the history of electronics. There's a plaque which said, I think the first email was sent from this place in 1970 or something. Stuff like that. The first email in Britain was sent from this office in Newbury. I don't know, you could see it in the video anyway. Another blonde when I go there, you know. Got to say a big thank you to another blonde. She's wonderful, and she can't, you know, even though she has a mobility scooter and she has limited she can't walk very far. She took me to all kinds of places and showed me so much. Right, that is the end. That is it, I think. Is that it? Yeah, that's oh, hang on, we got more. Hang on. Sorry, I think for some reason I wasn't getting like. The notifications weren't lighting up. They were like berets if they'd already been clicked. Like I'd marked them as red but hadn't deleted them. Right, I just got to carry on to the bottom. Right, I think that is the bottom. Right, that is the bottom. I'm getting no more. No. Right, okay, so as always, back to the top. Mark all as red, so we don't get any doubles and double stuff like that. Delete all. Still recording, aren't I? Yep, good. So that is BitChute done. Now on to good old Odyssey. Odyssey again. Odyssey is another heroic, I think, is whoever these alt techies, you know, I bow my head whenever I hear their names because they are so damn good. They're such good people. They're so essential. Right. The Invasion of Rudloe Manor. This is an old one. I mean, again, if BitChute does, they do give you like old video. They give you comments on old videos, which is good. I mean, it means I don't have to go through everything like I normally do. All right, here we go. That's 28 days ago. Okay, so now we have here. Oops. I'm just gonna. Of course, play happens automatically, so I always have to click pause whenever these things appear, so that I don't, because the play starts immediately. So I'll just do that. But I do have some comments on some of these videos. Oh, sorry, my eyes are itching. So pause. Halloween vigil. Oh, my nose is itching really badly. So I keep rubbing my nose. Pause. And finally, reply to comments 85. This is not even opening. All right, and so. Conspiracy. Okay, so Invasion of Rudloe Manor. This is an old video from October the 1st. What kind of beer are you drinking on that movie? Oh, I think I had several kinds, didn't I? I had some Cornish Stout. And what else did I have? Oh, loads of types. I mean, this is like... Oh, I see the... I was thinking of the Glastonbury Symposium. I don't know, actually, what I was drinking. I can't remember. I can't look now. But Ivan Koshedye says... oh, I've already answered that one. Okay, it was in the previous one. Okay, Crazy Plane Lady. Paper Beats Rock says 12:38. You're 100% wrong. He made the video. Right, this is the Crazy Plane Lady, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I know what this is about. I'm not going to click the timestamp, but he made a video straight after the incident. Now this is the so-called green hoodie guy who claimed to be a passenger on the plane. And I put in a text comment here. Paper Beats Rock says 100% wrong. He made a video straight after the incident. And I said here underneath, I disagree. I've seen the video already, and I don't think that's the real guy. He was one of about half a dozen people who made videos like this. This presents a serious problem, actually, a signal-to-noise ratio. If the real person appears, who would believe him? And Paper Beats Rock replies here. And says, I reckon it's him, the green hoodie guy, has been proven to be from a separate flight. In fact, he looks nothing like the original false description, leads more weight to his account than others. The thing is, Paper Beats Rock, there were so many people who claimed to be passengers on that plane, you probably need about 6 jumbo jets to put them all in. We have a signal-to-noise ratio problem here. Until we get more of a, the passenger manifest. What I'm sure the journalist got hold of it. Why, we should be able to clear this out more easily, and we haven't. Which indicates there's some kind of suppression of information here. Which means this is why I'm dubious about the green hoodie guy and that other video you showed me. Halloween Vigil. Ivan Koshedja says people who celebrate Halloween should also celebrate Thanksgiving and Independence Day. And worship Satan to be consistent. Oh, for goodness sake. Ivan, I don't go along with this Matthew Deluge shit, alright? People who celebrate Halloween are not worshipping Satan. They're doing something completely harmless, I think. And I know that the Illuminati do things on Halloween, I know that. But that doesn't mean, I don't think that means that ordinary people just going and having fun, doing live streams and stuff, is anything to do with that. And why are Thanksgiving and Independence Day satanic holidays? Right, reply to comments 85. We have Don't Have Vids, who lives up to his name. He has a blank blank channel. Says, regards, you're doing great stuff. Thank you very much, Don't Have Vids. Much appreciate it. And Diego Rivera says, you made it in the UFO world, going to Las Vegas. Have a good trip. Thanks very much. I did. Thank you, Diego Rivera. Oops, spamming again. Oh, bloody hell. It's the usual thing about spamming, because I'm posting the same comment more than once. I now want to Rumble. Now, I have had a number of comments on Rumble from Apple Lily, of course, who always comments, and other people. So we'll go there. So we'll start with reply to comments 85. I don't think I've got any old ones, but no comments on that. Then Cold Case Twitter voicemail. And Crafty Nihilist said, started watching on YouTube, then remember I don't do that anymore. Well done, Crafty. Now, when it comes to reply to comments notices, it's you get on Odyssey, you get it stopped if you post the same one on the same video. On Rumble, you get it stopped if you post the same one at all time on any videos, which means I have to put down lots of random characters in order to get the comment actually passed. So I just add random characters to the end. It fools the system quite well. But thanks, Crafty. Yeah, definitely. You're right. Definitely watch on Alt Tech, especially with part 1 of Meadows, because it's all the bits that are cut out on YouTube are there. The bits that are cut out are there on Alt Tech. Or a Halloween Vigil. No comments. Crazy Plane Lady. Oh, the what's it called? The X series has said here. Oh, they've just posted another link to the Stephen Greer. The Stephen Greer video they posted earlier to me. Follow done. Please follow back, says MD Jamman. Let's have a look at your channel. I don't automatically follow people back. No, I'm not following that channel. It's loads of it's sort of like soft porn. So no, I'm not following you back there, mate. Sorry. Okay, so a few random. There we go, random stuff. Apple Lily, who regularly comments on. She regularly comments on Rumble, says here, oh, you're posting too fast. We restrict certain... Oh, bugger off. How long do I have to wait now? Alright, that's it. Okay, but Apple Lily says it's all an act, psyop. all in quotes, psyop without a P, as they like to call it, and the plane incident, or the person she's referring to is a clone, as she sensed it. I don't think so, Apple Lily. I don't think this is a psyop. I mean, if the reason I think that is because what does it achieve? If it's a psyop? What is its purpose? If you can answer that, you may persuade me. You may well make me realise it was. Okay, Apple Lily says here. Again, I'm just inserting some random numbers and text. Okay. I noticed the link you provided is only insecure. Plus it says David Icke portal and the date. Is the link either talking about such incidents that occurred back then too, or is this another runaround, i.e. psyop, excuse the spelling? I tried the link and of course I was unable to open either because it says secured site or you know who don't want us to see it. I've come across this issue many times, says it all. It shouldn't be. It's the David Icke portal is actually some background. I just wanted to put in some background, Apple Lily. And you should be, let me just see if I can open it. Yes, I can. Right, so I don't know why you can't open it. I don't know why it doesn't work for you. This could be to do with your settings. It may be where you are in the world. Things like that. But you know, if you just go to the main HPANWO site and you should be able to open it. That's I don't know why that is. That's very, very strange. But it's basically, I've got a lot of David Icke stuff on there because I think it is relevant, including the reptilian thing, to this particular case indeed. Right, the Crafty Nihilist says, hi Ben, trying to listen to people on here now, so much more content. Yes. Oh, I agree, it's much better. Oh, what? Wait 5 minutes before posting again? Bugger off. The X series has actually deleted their comment there. And the Crafty Nihilist says here, why do I have to wait before posting 5 minutes before posting again? Oh, come on. Oh, it's worked. Hang on. Oh, come on. Don't be silly. Hang on. Comment. Wait 5 minutes. You're posting too fast. Oh, bugger off. Anyway, it's only the Crafty Nihilist left on this video now. Crafty says that's I'm answering you now. You're on. You know I'm answering here. I'll wait for a while. Okay, Crafty says, that's weird. I thought I was following you. Then it said I wasn't. Trying to watch things over here now. YouTube are like a kiddie's preschool with all the censorship. Over here is like it used to be on YouTube free. A breath of fresh air. People, you really don't realise how narrow your content is on YouTube. But come over here. It's like they open the doors of the prison and we can all go and run out again. Yeah, I agree, Crafty. Totally. Totally, that's exactly what it is. And you're absolutely right. Once you get onto alt tech, it's another world. I mean, what would I do if I didn't have alt tech? What if I was one of these people who put all my eggs in the YouTube basket? Okay, Meadows Part 1. Crafty Nihilist. First, where we should be all watching this. You have 2 channels on Rumble. I shouldn't. I should only have 1 channel on Rumble, Crafty. There may be one impersonating me, probably by a troll. Let me know. I'll contact you privately about that, actually. But anyway, Crafty Nihilist said that there. That's right. Yeah, definitely come over to the light side. Stay away from the dark. 2 of 2, no comments. Okay, so I'll leave Plain Lady open so I can post my reply comments to the Crafty Nihilist. Okay, guys. So right, I'll just do a refresh on YouTube and then we're done. I'm thinking just see. There probably will be some comments that have actually emerged since I've been recording this. So I'll just go and check now. Well, it looks like there haven't been. Okay, there haven't been any. So my nose is itching. There haven't been any. I'll just give this a refresh too. I'll check the spam folder. I'm checking now I'm just going to check the spam folder once more. Are there anything there? Nope, that's it then. Right. What's coming up? That's the end of this particular comments reply video. I want to thank each and every one of you for your comments. It's been really good. This has been a bit shorter than I expected, considering it's been so long since the last one. I wanted to say, like I said, big thank you to all of you for all your comments. I didn't get any really nasty ones this month. Well, they were all very nice, and I appreciate your support, all of you, especially, you know, because I've been away and I've had this unique opportunity to make a very special reportage in a very exotic location, and you've all been really wonderful and supportive and really appreciative of what I've done. Hopefully I'll do more of these in the future. It'll be really, really good. What's coming up? Well, this week, of course, is the 60th anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy of the United States. And I'm doing a special HPANWO show on HPANWO Radio. And what I'll do is later in the week, because I can't do two together, it's too difficult. What I will do is, I mean, the actual anniversary is Wednesday. I won't be able to do anything on Wednesday, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm going to be on Mercedes Luke Benedict's show this particular week. I'm sorry about the last time, there was a confusion over the time zones, but we've got it right this time. That's going to be on the early hours of Tuesday morning. But I will be doing a live stream later in the week about JFK. I've got other videos planned as well. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a debrief when it comes to the Stairway to the Stars, because there's a few things I want to add which I didn't include in the reportage, which I want to include in. I just want to say. Now, and one more thing, I've got another idea for. I'm going to do a review of this. Now, this is a book I want you to look at. It's called No Easy Day: The Navy SEAL Mission That Killed Osama bin Laden. It's by Mark Owen with Kevin Mora. You don't have to read this. There's lots of interviews with the author online on YouTube and things like this. But I am going to do a full review of this book because I haven't read all of it yet. I've read some of it. It's very interesting. It's very HPANWO-esque. I think there are things that are worth talking about in this book. It's a true story, apparently, of the killing of Osama bin Laden, and well, we'll discuss it and decide at the end just exactly how true it is. But in the meantime, and that's coming up in the future. There's lots of other things as well. Great to be back. Great to be back making videos again. I am planning another little excursion, small and not so far away, for next month, and you'll know all about that. I'll tell you all about that. Thank you all of you. I'll give you all the details nearer the time. For the time being, thank you all of you very much for your continued support and viewing and interest. Thank you for watching HPANWO TV yet again. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.